the one thing that Tristana is sort of notorious for, the buffering of the rocket jump. People constantly call for remakes in the Twitch chat, constantly spamming stuff about how it seems completely broken because you can buffer it properly during the cast animation to get out of CC. And against something like Zoe that will literally kill you from 100% HP to 0 when you get CC'd, being able to buffer out the Sleepy Trouble bubble is pretty big.
Oh, I saw Azale try that once, and he still got killed. He jumped away.
I saw that same clip.
He jumped away.
He jumped away, but the Zoe read him like a book.
Yeah, and I was like, in this situation, is it more optimal to jump into the Zoe? Probably.
Mind games.
Damage, the damage of the Paddle Star goes up the longer it travels, so getting in your face probably better. But
jump right into her and only lose 3/4 of your health instead. But
instead of I'll take it.
It's not an insta-give. Cloud9, they'll ban away 2 supports in the Alistar and the Braum. The power of the melee supports in the Relic Shield 80 carry overheal fleet footwork meta, very, very potent, so they want to take some of that off the table. Gnar and Camille banned out by the Golden Guardians, looking at that matchup that might be difficult for the Gangplank, wanting to make sure Lorlo gets off the ground.
Does he play Lucian?
Ooh.
Lucian, Vladimir, there's a decent amount of picks that you could pick here into the Gangplank and have an okay time. The Gnar.
He's smiling.
Ooh, the Kled.
Could he actually go for this?
Yeah,
we don't see a lot of Kled. Yeah, we don't see a lot of it, though. Yeah. That's what... Okay. Kled locked in.
Interesting.
Kled's one of my favorite characters in League of Legends, man. He's so rambunctious. He's got some of the best quotes.
I see a lot of similarities between the two of you.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
But yes, I definitely think that this Kled is a little bit of a curveball here. It's more for the team and just engaging. Well, I don't think they're going to throw in curveballs on the Golden Guardian side.
You can't just hover the Riven when you've already got the Gangplank locked in. You're not tricking anybody, Golden Guardians. They will lock themselves in the Taric for some more team fight potential, and it looks like Jarvan is going to be the final pick there for contracts in the jungle.
For Svenskeren, I feel like you just take Sejuani here, and if you really want to mess things up, you go for a Gragas or potentially a Lee Sin.
Ooh.
That would be very sneaky focused in the protection, and I forgot about her.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she's been banned so much.
Speaking of sneaking past the ban phases, we get both Zoe and Evelynn in the same game. It should be a lot of fun to watch between these two squads. Again, I'm especially going to be paying attention to Hai in this mid lane on what he can do with this Zoe. So often banned. Is this going to be the game where we see why it's banned all the time? Or maybe this encourages a couple other teams to let it slip by now and then?
I do want to see how Jensen handles this champion that a lot of people have said is a little bit overtuned and very hard to deal with. But Hai, if you think about his shot calling and his rotations and his picks, that's kind of where he shines, is those skirmishes, right?
Right.
Even Sneaky was talking about it. Hai knows when to take those fights, and last year it was kind of up in the air with when he was on FlyQuest. It's like, are they going to take this fight? Because they recognize very quickly. And with Zoe, you can definitely catch people in rotation and can pop people very quickly.
At the same time, I want to see what Svenskeren does about this Zoe pick, because Zoe's kind of deceptive, I think. Because when you get her ult, people are like, oh my gosh, she's got this 10-second little blink. It's like a mini flash. But the thing is, it brings you back to where you were. It's not true mobility in that it can get you away from something. Svenskeren on this Evelynn has a lot of kill potential. This champion's very dangerous in the jungle. I want to see if he sets up that tent in the mid lane, decides to camp out for a little while, and see if he can put that Zoe behind.
Yeah, the Evelynn plus Ryze combination is actually incredibly scary. The root into the charm, very hard to dodge. And as Zoe, like you said, no true escape. We'll see what happens in this game where high-end contracts go up against their old team.
Let's see if they can make the same kind of a statement that Afromu did previously, beating his old squad, taking down that banner that he came from. They'll definitely have their work cut out for them. The first game that Golden Guardians played of the season yesterday, not too impressive from them. Didn't go the way they wanted it to. This, their chance at redemption.
Yeah, Clutch able to beat out the Golden Guardians in that matchup, and now we're seeing them up against C9 here, and I'm looking at those minion dematerializers. Ryze, Zoe, and the Taric have all ended up taking them. The Taric one is the one that stands out to me because he's not going to be making use of the extra damage to the minions that it gives you later. This is more for, I'm going to use minion dematerializer on a cannon minion to either give ourselves a better back timer, ruin the enemy's back timer and push under turret, or potentially roam. Those are the three ways that you would use the minion dematerializer. Whereas I think for the Ryze, you definitely want to get those minion dematerializers out quickly so that your EQ can kill the whole wave.
And I love the fact that minion dematerializer has actually become a thing, because when Runes Reforged came out, that thing was the biggest meme in the entire Rune set. Everybody was like, what do I do? What do I use this thing for? What do I even do with this? But now they've kind of found the use for it. It's about the backtimers, like you said. It's about more pushing capability. It's all just about those very subtle advantages that you can earn with it. We'll have to see exactly how the teams decide to go about using those advantages this game, as Contracts will be getting a leash from his bottom lane at his red. Sven will be doing the same thing at his red, but from his top laner.
And those minion dematerializers, just talk about them one more time. First time I saw it was there was a Rise one trick in Korea that started it, and watching Faker play against it. And then from then on, people really just started to be like, oh, is this good? Is there a certain break point? And it definitely helps the Rise roam, even though he was already quite good at doing so. But it helps him take those cannon minions out too. So
nice stun there. Matt just not willing to let Smoothie walk up completely haphazardly, but Matt and Definitely going up against Sneaky and Smoothie. This is a sort of a fun matchup to see, because Sneaky and Smoothie have proven themselves as one of the duos to look out for in the bottom lane in the North American LCS, right? Like, these guys are an established duo, and they're going up against players that have not established themselves as a duo. I mean, you're looking at Definitely coming out of the Challenger Series. You're looking at Matt, who was on the Team Liquid roster in 2017 that did not see much success. Yeah. So if you're looking at this bottom lane, you're seeing a pretty generally considered successful bottom lane versus a very much unproven bottom lane. So for Golden Guardians, you want to make that statement. You want to say, here's the proof.
You want to be able to take that to the bottom lane, especially the established one, right? Like Sneaky Smoothie. Sneaky's been around for so long. He's played, I believe he's the person who's played the most games on the same team in all of North America. So he's been on C9 for ages.
Ever since C9 was a thing, C9 Sneaky was a thing. He just has been that constant presence on this team.
He's been the rock for sure. But in this top lane, though, it's actually interesting because Licorice has Grasp. This is actually, I believe, one of the first Grasps that I've seen in the top lane. And, oh.
Paddle Star with the Ignite. And keep in mind, that's not a real Ignite. That's a fake Ignite. It still does the same damage as a real Ignite. Yep, it still feels real, but it is not real. It is just a W.
Oh, the fact that that is so powerful, and it's, like you said, it's the same impact of an actual Ignite. It just makes it so hard to play against.
We'll have to keep an eye on exactly what High ends up getting from these minion drops. The one that's probably the most notorious for Zoe, one of the most frustrating ones to play against, the teleport.
Yeah.
If he should get the teleport and be able to get himself a great back timing or potentially even a rotation to another lane with it, that can really swing the early game in the favor of the Golden Guardians. Sleeping Trouble Bubble not going to hit on that one. Remember, the bubble actually has a very short range if you only fire it across normal terrain. You have to go through some sort of an obstruction, some sort of a wall, if you want it to have that extra range.
Well, pistol versus pistol top lane.
Yeah. Honorable duel.
10 paces.
Yep, 10 paces. The clock strikes noon. Turn and shoot. Speaking of turning and shooting, Jensen can't turn, but High is definitely going to shoot.
Man, when we changed the health bars, too, to the new updated look, and the fact that they shake whenever, like, big chunk of damage, I shake, too, because it just, it's disgusting.
That one's got a sting. Contracts moving into the river. Has to clear out both the normal ward and the zombie ward. Drops down his own control ward to just keep a little bit of an extra eye out for Svenskeren.
Yeah, and we see a decent amount of zombie wards here. I believe there also might be a zombie ward from Licorice on the top side because he placed a ward in his tri-brush and then it later had to be picked up by Contracts. And I believe Svenskeren has it as well. And Svenskeren also has a Spell Thieves. We see this on Evelyn, upgraded to Frostfang, very frequently. Because of the fact that you can just open up on somebody and you get those 3 Qs and you'll get all of that extra gold, and the Bandit passive, it helps you scale very quickly. And it doesn't even hurt you or hinder you in terms of damage output.
Plus, you end up getting the Spooky Ghosts, which help you for chasing people down, setting up your entire combo. Evelyn has the damage. The thing is, you just have to set that charm on them, wait a couple seconds for it to actually prime the stun. If you have the Spooky Ghosts, waiting really isn't that big of a deal.
I don't actually see too many Evelyns upgraded all the way, interestingly enough.
Maybe that's more of just a solo cute cheese.
Maybe.
There's a reason I'm not a professional player, Zyrene.
I mean, the thing is I've saw most of the Frost Queen's claim, Frostfang, and recently I've seen people actually go the distance with the Frost Queens, kind of realizing just how good it is. So he might actually do that, like you said, but it's not something that I've seen in the last month or so. But Contracts looking for Sneaky, but just a flash.
Flash away. Contracts decides to try to go back in, see if he can catch him looking the other way, but not quite. Sneaky's more than aware enough to get away from that one. Contracts not finding the knock-up with the EQ that he wants. Walks back away.
Well, teleport from Licorice to the top side to match the teleport from Lorlo from earlier.
Ooh, nice stun though.
Yeah.
But Tom Kench.
Yep, no rocket jump buffer or anything like that. And I think the Tom Kench is actually important here because it was picked immediately after the Zoe to make sure that they have something for the Sleepy Trouble bubble later. If somebody gets slept, boom, just gobble them up and they'll be safe.
Which is one of the best ways to actually deal with that, because Zoe does require time to set up the paddle star. She needs the duration of that Sleepy Trouble bubble to make sure she gets that maximum damage huge chunk that makes her poke effective. And Tom Kench can do a very good job at denying that. Top side 49 to 56 CS up there, so the pick for Licorice working out well enough. Tiamat up and running on the Kled versus the Sheen for the GP.
Yeah, and you have to watch Licorice, and there's kind of a microscope over him right now because he's that new guy on this team,
New
that
kid on the block.
rookie. And another big thing about it is yesterday he didn't really have a good game because he was constantly dove, where Svenskeren was sectioned out of the jungle by Rainover, so he had to abandon the top side, and Licorice stayed under turret, got dove multiple times. So he didn't really have that great of a game, but was able to come back in those team fights later. But now it just looks like he's going for some more lane domination against this GP. Needs to, like we just saw him do, board up the river so that he isn't in a position where he'll get ganked by contracts.
And when you're a rookie, there's always extra pressure, right? Because nobody actually knows how you're going to perform on the professional stage. People, of course, can speculate. People can make educated guesses. But at the end of the day, nobody can actually say he's going to be this good or he's going to be this bad. You've just got to show what you can actually do. Talk only goes so far.
And I think that, you know, even he doesn't know exactly how well he will do either. I mean, I got to talk to him a few times, and hold on, wait, damage, damage.
No. Hello. Oh. That's only 2/3 of his HP.
Must go back. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Collect another trouble bubble if you stick around, though.
Oh, that
Not exactly what he wants to do. Not exactly what he wants to do. Does use the Summoner Spellbook to switch out for teleport and get back to the lane a little bit sooner. Svenskeren will charm that Scuttle Crab. I don't know how you charm a crab, but Svenskeren knows the secret art. Drowsy onto the Tom Kench, and... Oh!
Nobody saw that.
Nope. Nobody was watching. Don't worry, Hi. Contract's trying to get himself away now. Oh, here comes the attack from Sven and Jensen. High forced to flash away and use the cleanse. Those were both real summoner spells, by the way. Sleepy Trouble level that time, finding its way onto Smoothie along with the Paddle Star. Matt definitely trying to go for the twist. And there you go. There's that buffer that we're talking about. As long as you know how to time that, you can get out of almost anything. Practically feels like a Gangplank orange at some points. A Gangplank orange built-in dash.
So Gangplank is just a Tristana that doesn't leap.
Yes, Gangplank is a Tristana that doesn't leap and has a cooldown on the range part of his auto attack.
Okay. I feel like Tristana would just be top Tristana. Huni,
top lane. If there's a man to do it, it would be Huni, but he's not in this game. Instead, Lorlo and Licorice still trying to see which one of these two is going to be more effective on these champions, because Gangplank and Kled, these aren't two champions that you look at like something like a Maokai or a Galio or something that's going to be low econ, still useful if it falls behind. Kled and GP need money. They need to be relevant to the current pace of the game. And if they're not, well, tough luck.
Wow. Sorry, I was just looking at High clear those caster minions at level 8. He already used all of his minion dematerializers, so don't know exactly which ones he used them on, of course. It only adds for the certain type of minion, caster, melee, or siege.
I expect to use it on each kind at least once, because the first use does give you much more extra damage on that type of minion. So Svenskeren and Contracts both not finding really a whole lot of anything just yet. You can see the Tracker's Knives completed. Free boots coming in on both these junglers. One of my favorite runes in the entire Reforge arsenal.
Free ass boots.
Free ass boots. But Stopwatch is also in there, as have been proven to be an incredibly effective.
Exactly, and that's why I think a lot of games we're seeing a little bit safer early games, because the early game will happen. People will invade each other like level 2 or 3 and like look for each other, try to find something. But then after that happens, you end up in this area where people are farming to get to their level 6s, their ultimates. If you're a laner, you hit level 6, you know, around 6 minutes, around 5:45 depending. And then junglers hit him at like 6:30, 7 minutes, depending on how your farm is going. And that's when Stopwatch is active. So if you want to go for a tower dive with your level 6, it lines up at the 6 minutes where stopwatches come online. So you don't really get to do those dives immediately that you would normally like to do with those ultimates.
Licorice getting rowdy here in the top lane, jumping onto Lorlo, taking off about half his HP. Of course, Lorlo will have some sustain through the oranges, but at the end of the day, that Kled damage is nothing that you can just sort of scoff at and disrespect. You're going to have to be aware of where he is and what's going on. Jensen looking to make the flash into the root. The damage comes in from Sven, but there's your stopwatch to provide High with the opportunity for the outplay. Svenskeren gets himself back, but he's not able to find the execute. Jensen still looking to get away, can't quite do it. Gangplank ulti brings down the cannons, but it will not be enough. Everybody somehow walks away. Oh, could this be the charge?
Licorice, the rook in the back.
Want to ride that chocobo.
Oh, he found Svenskeren!
He's going in. Svenskeren going to be put to sleep. The Drowsy comes out. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble not quite able to find the mark. It's still High grabbing the first blood, but he dies for it. Contract's going to be killed number 2. It's a 2-for-1 for C9.
The reinforcement there from Licorice to help them get those kills, and he picks up both of them.
We talked about this kid being the rookie. We talked about that making him the question mark on the team. Prove yourself. Show us what you got. He rides into the mid lane and he finds 2.
Oh, Sneaky, gonna get eaten up there.
Yep, gobbled to safety, exactly what the Tom Kench is built for.
Yeah, but it still looks like Deathly has that lane pressure. We saw this back at the beginning of Worlds where, you know, Varus was kind of the lane counter to Tristana, but then it was Ardent Sensor really was just better on the Tristana later. So they're trying to find some advantage here, and that's gonna be a bit of damage.
Nice force out of the flash from that enemy 80 carry. Means Deathly's going to have to be especially careful for the next 5 minutes. Playing the Varus, that's the other thing compared to the Tristana. Sneaky's always going to have that exit. He's always going to have rocket jump. He even has his ultimate for a secondary escape mechanism. Varus, he's stuck. He's in the same spot unless he's got the flash, so you really got to be mindful of exactly where you are if you're Deathly at this point. Cloud9 enjoying themselves a very slight gold lead, 300 to 400 gold, nothing huge. Honestly, just the difference between the fact that they have 2 kills compared to 1.
Yeah, right now, junglers, bottom lane. Both of them on this side right here. Oh, Matt missing that stun. Sneaky with just the move upward. And right here, Contract's warded on his red, and he's trying to... He's not doing it just yet. He's seeing if Svenskeren will go for it, and he's hovering. He's shadowing the bottom lane.
Svenskeren really wanted to see if he can make something happen here. Gets the invis, starts prowling around. Remember, post 6 is when Evelyn's invisibility comes online, so the entire way that you play against this champion changes.
Ooh, Ryze is here too.
Once that rolls around, Cloud9 looking to make their move. Stopwatch comes through, but definitely still going to be stuck without the flash. There's no way out. Baron going to be stuck. Smoothie gets him to safety. Exactly what you said earlier, Zyrene.
How do you counter Obnoxious? Even more obnoxious.
Gobble, 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 gobble. He gets him out. They make their escape. They take the turret on the way there. Cloud9 up 2,000 gold now. Svenskeren still looking to maybe make more happen. Sleepy Trouble Bubble not going to find the mark. TP coming in. Licorice. The cavalry will arrive momentarily. Svenskeren looking to take down Contracts. Your Taric ulti comes in. Cosmic Radiance, Svenskeren nearly going to be taken down. High grabs the kill onto him. Contracts protected as Licorice able to find the kill onto Matt. Gives that one over to Jensen. The chase continues. Jensen wants to go on to High here. Moving into position ahead of that blast cone. Licorice going to be able to find that pincer. High goes forward, immediately goes back, and Jensen goes home 300 gold richer after picking up that kill. But now you've got Lorlo into the mix. Licorice looking to remount onto that Snarl. And he's out. He gets his mount back. The man makes his escape.
I can't even see the red on that health bar. He got basically all that Scarl back, and that's it. Licorice is basically a walking dead man right now.
Perfect timing. That's why Kled's so fun to watch.
Let's watch this again, because this was just a fiasco in the bottom lane. People showing up late, people showing up, and watch this, definitely, he gets the Evelyn charm prepped on him. He's walking up slowly. Here it comes. That keys them off. Jensen's already there. The stopwatch through it. Contracts, then wants to get a counter kill onto Svenskeren, but Svenskeren gets eaten up after getting hit by the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, spat out, and then the passive also heals you based on your AP. So he comes around the side at about half HP, plus that red buff giving him a little bit more regen, and they push forward, and then the TP comes out for the flank here. It's just a bait to set them up as you have Svenskeren. Look at that, almost full HP again. The fight reset on Evelyn is so strong, and the GP ultimate from Lorlo to assist, but Lorlo eventually starts TPing when he realizes he needs to get into this fight. But this was really, from a macro standpoint, just kind of a fight that it looked like Golden Guardians didn't want to commit to, and C9 were fully committed on it from the start.
And that commitment pays off for Cloud9. They have themselves about a 3,000 gold lead now. 5 kills compared to 2. Still have that 1 turret compared to the 0 of their opponents. And Licorice, 2, 0, and 2 on this Kled. It's an unusual pick. He's the rookie. He's the guy that you wonder about, but he's doing work so far here in this game. Cleaver along with the Tiamat. Contracts coming in to make sure High stays safe. Charm is down, but High's got the damage! And Lorlo's got the kill. The cannons from downtown. As now they look to maybe make it too. Contract
the bubble.
wanted to chase this one down. The Drowsy is there. Very nice. Ulti doesn't matter. High with the paddling.
That's a paddling for sure, Flowers. High from downtown uses the flash that he picked up to extend the range, even when Svenskeren used the ultimate backwards to disengage.
Golden Guardians find their fight. It goes fantastically for them. Lorlo now looking to go 1v1 against Licorice, but the Cled's too big. It's very hard to just fight him straight up like that. You're going to have to kite around. You're going to have to use the barrels and take those pot shots at him and take advantage of the fact that you can poke more.
Yeah, this, once again, we're seeing these long fights. Dodges the Q from Rise by ducking under, and right here, when that hits Jensen, he's a goner. The slam on top of the trouble bubble, extra damage, and then it was the GP ulti. And right here, let's see this. Out? No.
Right back. Oh, that's dirty.
I mean, people used to meme about, oh man, they killed me from a screen away. Legitimately,
just pick more than Italy Spears.
Oh, wait. Flanking here from Svenskeren.
Charm onto Lorlo. Lands his damage there. Flash away, enough to keep him safe. The ultimate not ready to go on Svenskeren, so can't finish that one off. Well, top side.
Yeah,
they've swapped the lane away.
Oh man, all these outer turrets are very low for Golden Guardians. They're about to lose their top, their mid is also low, and they've already lost their bottom turret to that play earlier. So C9 are still, even though we're seeing Golden Guardians have some scrappy fights and it's 4 to 5 in kills, it's this turret advantage that's really helping C9 out, and it will continue to help them as it looks like they're close to breaking that outer line.
Golden Guardians have managed to hold that line for now, though, and that's the most important thing, right? It doesn't matter if your turret has 1% HP or 100% HP, it doesn't give your opponent's gold until it's dead. So Golden Guardians will hold on to that for now, at least, as they do pick themselves up the Rift Herald, giving that one over to Contract.
A 4-man Rift Herald. So very, very set on getting that for themselves so that they can at least get a turret back. And meanwhile, it's a frozen lane bottom. You have to watch out, though, because when your lane is frozen bottom, that means that you're putting your team at a disadvantage because that top laner can go roam to another lane and make a play. And you can see Licorice is already set up mid here to potentially follow up another root/charm combo that we've seen already happen multiple times. And I talked about after Champions, like, that combo is so frustrating to play against.
Yeah, really difficult to deal with. Jensen not going to be stepping into the Sleepy Trouble bubble trap. Manages to clear out the ward without that becoming an issue. Finds the root, sidesteps the bubble once again. Takes High down below about half HP. One more big hit should do it, but he can't quite find that.
Oh,
in goes Licorice, but that's not quite the distance he needed on the charge. Needs to retreat now to avoid the bubble into the Gangplank ulti, but they should be able to find the turret. One more hit will do it, but they can't find the opportunity to land that, as now Cloud9 just needs this next wave to fly.
Yeah, they're going to bring all 5 people here mid. They're going to be like, everybody group up, hit this thing once. Boom, they're sneaky to get it.
Sneaky grabs the damage there. Svenskeren and Licorice invading the enemy jungle. If there's wards down by Golden Guardians, it just looks like Licorice, because you cannot see Svenskeren through that invisibility right now. Sven will take that red buff for himself, provide him some extra regeneration, as well as make it more effective in combat. Baron spawning now in 4 seconds. Next Drake currently alive is the Cloud Drake, which hasn't been taken at all so far. That's the difference between this game and last game's, Irene. When Infernal spawns first, you get it. Yeah. When Cloud spawns first, you don't hang around that part of the map too much.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into a debate about, you know, the viability of Cloud Drakes and stuff, but it's very obvious that players really want the Infernals for the team fights, and the Clouds are something that they definitely prioritize turrets higher. And Licorice doesn't have ulti. He's just looking for a flank here, and it's a convergence by about 7 people mid.
Rift Herald getting summoned by Contracts. Svenskeren here. High going to be jumped on. 4 versus 5. There comes your Jarvan pick. Cosmic Radiance going to be coming down. Licorice knocked off of his mount. Licorice nearly going to be taken down here. Gobbled up to safety by Spoony. There comes your damage. Lorlo grabbing the kill. 1 for 0 so far. Golden Guardians. Shelly rams her head right into the turret. They look to push this one down. Take an objective along with the fight victory. The gold lead closed now down to 1,000 gold. Trouble bubble nearly finding Sneaky, but nearly is not enough Golden Guardians back away with the win.
That was a 5-on-5 fight, but only one member dropped, and it was Smoothie there, but they got the turret on Golden Guardian's side, so we're only looking at that one turret disadvantage here for them, so about 1,000 plus gold, but, oh.
Trouble Bubble just has a very slow projectile time.
Yeah. Quick, was that a real flash or wrong, or a fake one?
Because of the fact that his flash is already on CD, I'm pretty sure that was a fake one because the flash is
you're
on
right.
CD.
You got me.
Yeah, that was a meme flash.
Good eye, Flash. Just testing it.
All right, Lorlo. Sterix Gauge procs, popping the barrel, throwing the ulti. I don't know if this is going to be enough, though. He's trying to stay alive, but... Oh, for the orange cooldown. Stopwatch enough? That comes down to save him. Lorlo walks away.
2.5 seconds, baby!
2.5 seconds. We talked about how long that is in League of Legends time, and today it was long enough to keep this man alive. Lorlo walking out of that one, maintaining the deathless scoreline.
Yeah, that stopwatch puts a damper on a whole bunch. But top lane, though, Jensen actually getting chunked out, and he's able to get away with the ultimate.
Jensen stays safe. So many close calls this game that aren't actually resulting in kills. Let's take another look at what happened on this one. Around.
Yep, his Flash is already down. Hit Sneaky with it. Oh, Pop Smoothie was like, I'm on my way! But not quite. Man,
not close enough.
This pick, like, I thought it was going to be a super good pick for High, but I didn't realize it was going to be something that allows him to really go up against Jensen and have 100% KP, affect the map, roam around and play that skirmish style. He's up right now in terms of levels, and he's doing a fantastic job for Golden Guardians, whereas yesterday, he had the most deaths on his team.
And when you reference this to the stat that we saw at the beginning of this match, the fact that High is currently 1-8 in his matchups against Jensen, this is a really good omen that he's been able to have this effect because apparently he struggles in this matchup. So you want to see this kind of effect. You want to see these kind of score lines and this impact.
Yeah, and we're seeing Contracts and High kind of buddy up here to go up against Jensen and Svenskeren, and it's been working out so far. Svenskeren ended up, kind of getting the worst of those fights in mid, and this Evelynn really does favor that roaming style, getting to those side lanes and picking, but the combination of the Ryze Evelynn, it looks like Golden Guardians said we know you want to play towards it, and they're able to kind of counter multiple times.
Clearing out some wards now. Remember, Baron is live 23 minutes into the game with only 1,000 gold separating the teams. A big Baron play or even a team fight over Baron could determine a lot about the remaining pace of this game. Both sides likely very aware of that, playing this carefully, not wanting to give away a game for nothing. I always look at League of Legends games as being decided one of two ways. Either you make a big play, you set yourself up, you find the success, or you let your opponent make a bad play. And neither one of these teams wants to be the ones that gives that bad play over to their opponent. Golden Guardians pushing this wave out here in the mid lane, Sneaky and Smoothie hanging around to just push it right back. You can see Smoothie staying ever so close to Sneaky, just in case High's waiting over the wall. He's not willing to let what happened last time happen again, while Licorice continues the split push in the bottom lane, making sure he gets the Demolish proc before backing away.
Yeah, Licorice actually behind about 1,200 gold right now. Even though he's 2-0-2, the Gangplank is just making bank constantly with the fact that he has the Klepto, and he also just has the Parlay extra damage, so like we saw there.
And that's why people are comfortable picking this champion the way they are, right? That's why we see this champion getting picked blindly. It's why we see it getting picked early, because of the fact that it's so safe in lane. You use the Klepto to provide yourself the extra potions, the extra sustain, you get money, and even if your opponent is making moves across the map, I mean, Lorlo's not doing poorly. He's literally just one assist behind his opponent, but he's got that extra money because he picked the champion he did.
Yeah, and really, I feel like Gangplank is kind of now the essence of the phrase, don't worry, we scale.
Yep.
Because he's going to scale. Whether you like it or not, he's going to get to that point. When we saw even yesterday where CLG was playing against C9, they camped the Gangplank, killed Licorice twice on it, and he was still having team fight impact with his barrels and his ultimate. And so Lorlo, he's in that spot now, but a much better one. He wasn't camped. He's able to beat up thousands of gold now and hold on.
Oh, damage comes through, and Smoothie's not quite able to get there to find the safety. Cosmic Radiance comes in. Contract's going to be the target for now. Sneaky utilizing the stopwatch, giving himself okay. Damage onto Contracts. Licorice grabbing the killing spree, though, on too deftly. The retreat from the Golden Guardians as now the counterattack from Cloud9 is in full force. Matt trying to get back. He's likely going to be taken down here. Licorice with the rampage, and C9 finds 2 for 0.
And they are just working around that cooldown of Highs. High just constantly throwing out Sleepy Trouble Bubbles, not really landing too many. Got one on Sneaky there later, and the first one on Jensen, but the Paddle Star not able to connect and do enough damage when you have this Kled up in the face of the Zoe.
And all this money is going on to Licorice. I mentioned at the beginning of this game how both of these champions need that, and he's getting that.
Watch this. This is actually a shield and a half there from Tencent. He would have been down a lot of HP if he hadn't have shielded there with the Seraph right before. But you see, sneaky, jump away, he's asleep, but he's far away from the fight. And now Hai's in a position where, who are you gonna hit? I guess you hit Licorice, but this guy is tanky, he's up in your face. And Zoe really dislikes when people are up in her face because, like I said before, the Paddle Star, damage increases the further it travels. And so this Kled will ulti and get so many people up on that back line that it really just does reduce the damage of the Zoe by a lot, if you can get people up there.
One thing I really want to point out as they've just become active Guardian Angels for both top laners. Gangplank and Kled both got to go down twice now, and for Kled it's even more annoying because of the fact that you have the Scarl and the ability to regenerate massive amounts of health through the remount mechanic. The Licorice is going to be incredibly difficult to take down as now they look to make the dive onto Lorlo. The damage is there, the turret falls to demolish. Lorlo getting himself back, the Hysteric's gauge proc enough to keep him shielded and alive, but the turret dropping is what C9 came for.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted that demolish. They're actually running unsure, but that demolish has actually done a lot of work for Licorice so far. Been able to push up turret. And I believe Smoothie also probably has it.
You actually see quite a few people taking it. It's a very effective tool for taking down turrets, considering so much of taking down the turrets just seems to be chipping away at them.
Yeah.
When one of the chips turns into a chunk, it's pretty easy to take the thing down.
What's interesting, because I've talked to a decent amount of supports, like Aphromoo, for instance, really likes unflinching as opposed to Bond of Stone, or Font of Life, I guess is what it's called now, Font of Life. And those all share the same spot. So the fact that Demolish is being taken on, I believe, multiple people here is actually pretty interesting.
Cloud9's got themselves a 3,500 gold lead 28 minutes in. Infernal Drake is spawning next. Baron is still live. Neither team has really made a big effort towards that just yet. Cloud9 seems to be pretty happy playing this split push game, utilizing the pressure from Lorlo, or utilizing the pressure from Licorice against Lorlo, excuse me. But Lorlo's still farming up a storm. Drowsy finds its way onto Smoothie, who can't save himself, but not quite close enough to land the paddle star. It'll be the second time we see that this game, coming up just a little bit short to flambe that catfish.
Yeah, I like that we don't show the Zoe going back and then firing the paddle star, so we're just as surprised as the player is when they get hit by it, or when it falls a little bit short.
Looking at where we are in the game, Cloud9 with pressure in both side lanes. Golden Guardians just seem strictly reactionary at this point. They're moving back and forth. They're trying to stop the Rise. They're trying to stop the Kled. They're just trying to keep themselves afloat here as they figure out how to address this Cloud9 problem.
Yeah, they're trying to scale up a little bit, but at the same time, I feel like the Rise and the Tristana both scale incredibly well. I understand they have a Gangplank and a Zoe, but I don't know. I feel like the Zoe, you need a little bit more vision control. Wrestle it back is kind of the process they're going through now.
It's the LMS strategy. Go to 55 minutes, coin flip a team fight.
Whoa.
We still got another 25 minutes to go if that's what they're doing, so buckle your seatbelts. 51,500 gold to 55,500 gold, 4K lead. It slowly builds for C9, and now they're looking to build it more quickly, moving onto the Baron. That will force the ult out of Lorlo. Gangplank not having that available now for the next, what is that, about minute and a half. Means that they will have that window to work with for the side of Cloud9.
Okay, so I just checked up on it. It looks like Smoothie has the font, has unflinching for himself, so he doesn't have the demolish here. It's just Licorice, but I guess when they took down that mid turret, he was close enough and actually contributing to it. But the fact that he was in this split push champion, taking that split push keystone, or not keystone, but I guess rune.
Normal rune.
I gotta not call them masters. Hold on, Smoothie.
Cosmic Radiance comes down to prevent the counterattack. Is it going to be there in time? It will, to keep Matt alive for just a moment longer. Sneaky still able to grab the kill. Is now Lorlo going to have to be careful, finding himself here in the middle of the fight. Contract's looking to run back now as well. Licorice taken low by the proc on the Blighted Quiver from the rain of arrows as High tries to get back. Barrel to cover their escape. One dead on the side of the Golden Guardians. Cloud9, they have Svenskeren in position to maybe make a flank here. And he bought it, and good, tries to go for it. Drowsy going to be coming through, uses the ulti to get away. Smoothie there for extra protection. Svenskeren almost meets disaster.
And he's going to go up to about, I would say, maybe 80% HP on Svenskeren. just through the heal, and when it comes through, oh, he actually backed, so it's not going to work. But the passive heals so much.
This does give Sneaky the opportunity to solo down the Inferno.
Yes.
It's still a pretty big win for Cloud9, just from
And able to push them off. And I like that Cloud9 are just going for straight-up team fights. We're seeing them force a lot. They're using the Kled ultimate. They're just rushing up because if you're grouping as 5, the Zoe is way less effective because she loves picking people off. You want to be able to just divide the map up and catch people in rotation. But Hai hasn't been able to do that for a while. The Tahm Kench, when they're grouped up, able to save people. And also, there's some shields that are coming through here too, with having the Seraph's Embrace for Jensen, as well as having the Zonias for himself too.
The Farm Fest continues though. Golden Guardians, don't worry, we're scaling.
Yep.
Trying to get there. Well, Flank, one item left to build. Yumu's Ghostblade now completed.
Yeah, and I think you get to the point where you don't say, don't worry, we scale. You just say, we scale. You do have to worry at this point if you're Golden Guardians.
You'd scratch out the don't worry part, because there is a reason to worry as Cloud9 continues to build leads for themselves, up to 5,000 gold now. Sneaky still looking to push further. Hai grabbing some damage onto him, and by some damage, I mean half his health bar.
Whoa!
Oh, wow! That bubble had some stretch to it.
That like had his
name
on
Jensen, the one that now gets captured, but the classic Rise escape plan. Zonia's Hourglass into the Realm Warp means there's really nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, it's the Zonia swimming pool. Just get him right out.
Lorlo continuing to defend down here against Licorice. The thing is, once Lorlo gets to full build, he needs to be able to deal with Licorice. That's the thing. The Gangplank's farming. He's scary. He's strong. But if he still can't deal with the Kled, what's it worth?
Yeah, and the Kled's more focused on team fights by far.
Yeah.
He's way focused on just getting in there. And here we go for Flank.
There comes your Kled coming around from behind with the charge onto Hai. Matt's going to be the first one to fall. Hai tries to stay safe. The root comes through. The kill will follow. Jensen taking that one. The damage down onto Licorice, but he will revive through the power of the Guardian Angel. They're trying to keep him alive. The barrel not quite timed the way it needs to be. It's 2 for 0, and one of those 2 is critically that Zoe that would otherwise stop them from maybe making a move onto Baron. Contracts is still here. He's healing up from the Warmogs. You've still got Deathly and Lorlo for damage, but Cloud9, will they go for this?
Well, Jensen cleared the ward. That'll give him some temporary vision, so they don't have to worry. And as soon as they know Svenskeren is on this side,
all right, looks like he heals up to
TP flank.
2/3. TP flank coming in. Jensen maybe in some trouble. Contracts, maybe their target here. Svenskeren needs to be careful, but he actually drops, not able to get himself away from danger in time. Jensen very low from behind. Licorice now with another flank of his own. Now on to Lorlo. Guardian Angel procced here. This one will not find value. Big difference in the payoff of these items for these two different top laners. Licorice saves his own life. Lorlo ends up just postponing his inevitable defeat here, as now Cloud9 still has themselves a man advantage. The problem is, when you don't have your jungler, Baron becomes very, very risky.
Yep. They don't have their jungler, but at the same time, it may just be a bait. We'll see. Contracts is going to have to walk in and check. They're still doing it, though. It's just Sneaky did this yesterday, where it was him and Smoothie zoning people out. The 80 carry zoning, incredibly powerful.
He will not let Contracts anywhere near this.
Sneaky is a monster right now. Wait.
Thing is about monsters, though, Zyrene, you ever read a fairy tale? Monsters get killed. And right now, Hai is the hero of that tale, taking down the enemy 80 carry. That'll at least add about 50 seconds to this Baron push that Cloud9 wants to start.
Yeah, and the reason I said Sneaky's a monster here is he's doing the zoning strat, but he's also 3 levels up over Deathly. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but Licorice here, the flanks are perfect. The flank onto Hai in the back line forces the Zonias out of him that he had picked up, and then they're able to pick him up after they're rolling right over the Taric.
And this GA, not quite what you needed there. Smoothie has really been where he needed to be this game, except for that one sort of Mimi kill in the mid lane onto
Sneaky had stopwatch then, too.
Okay, so we'll blame Sneaky for that one.
Yeah.
So now we can say Smoothie has always been where he needed to be. He just trusted Sneaky too much.
Exactly.
Yeah. Smoothie's been on point with the Tahm Kench. This champion catches a lot of flack because he's sort of, people call him a fun killer sometimes because he always shuts down plays and people are always scared to do something against Tahm Kench. But a well-played Kench is just such an effective tool for making sure your team doesn't get collapsed on or jumped on. And for Smoothie, that's awesome. We talked about these guys, how these are an established duo, about how there is that trust there is that coordination, that synergy. And Smoothie, not just with Sneaky, but with the rest of Cloud9, has been there time and again. I got you, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah, and so far has been don't worry for C9. He's been doing great. Sneaky, level 17, definitely still struggling. Level 15, 2 down right now. And Sneaky is now just pretty much at that almost full build. You will switch out that last item. Buy another DPS one if you want to get rid of that shield, but he's just a siege monster. The persona that I talked about outside the laning phase from the Varus, the counter doesn't really matter too much anymore. And with the Tahm Kench, even if you get caught by something, you're going to be fine. The Tahm Kench will be able to back you up, so Sneaky can play with a little bit more bravado and walk forward.
And you've got these super annoying cannon minions that sit 1,000 range away and bombard the turret too, so even though it takes a really long time, they will just stand there and hit the thing over and over and over again until eventually it takes it low enough that Sneaky's confident that he can say, all right, I'll walk up and kill this if he did.
Yeah, this is a 1-2-1, but the Evelynn is going between lanes, and hold on, they're collapsing.
Smoothie and Sneaky holding the line. Svenskeren on the flank. Contracts backing himself away. Loses about half HP. High going to be rotating around now too, just in case. The top lane push is going to be shut down. Bottom lane push. No turret there to defend under. Svenskeren still hanging out between these lanes. Spooky ghosts.
Yeah.
Ah, the real ones. Yep, fully evolved item.
Finally picked it up there. Sat on the Frostfang for a very long time, but yeah, like you said, his second to last item.
Sneaky and Smoothie continuing to push up here in the mid lane. Explosive charge down onto the turret, blows it to smithereens. And now you've got 3 exposed inhibitors on the side of the Golden Guardian. Times are dire. Something has to happen. High's going to be taken low. Licorice sounds the horn. He charges in. What can they find? They're able to get Matt. They're able to get contracts. They're able to get Deathly. It's 3 dead on the side of the Golden Guardians. About to be 4, but the remaining 2 get away. Cloud9, 5 men strong in the base. Look to end this one right here.
Cloud9, High, he's going to try to stop his old team here.
I don't know how well that's going to work, Cyrene. They've got minions onto the Nexus turrets. One of those is already down. Demolish is ticking away. Licorice should be able to end this second one. High still just doing his damnedest to try to defend here, but instead he's going to be brought down on his own stairs to the fountain. And 38 minutes in, Cloud9 defeat the Golden Guardians with a couple more ticks of the minion auto attacks. Into the fountain they might try to go, but instead the game just ends.
And Licorice, a smile on his face after yesterday's performance where they were able to come back, ends this game 7-0-6.
What a performance. When I said this guy needs to step up, he jumped all the way up. This was exactly what you want to see out of your top laner. When I see somebody lock in Kled, I see a guy who's going to be able to split push, who's going to be able to duel, and who's going to flank and provide a massive amount of threat into the enemy back line. All 3 of those boxes, check, check, check. He did exactly what I wanted to see from that champion this game.
I really liked the flanks, both the one that he had with the collapse with the ultimate, and then in that same fight later on, about 30 seconds later, he's TPing in on a flank. I'm really liking that type of style because this became a very scrappy, split push oriented game with the Ryze in one lane and then this dominant Kled in the other.
And I mean, we talked at the beginning of this about how in the offseason, some people were like, oh, Cloud9's offseason plans, these roster swaps, is this really good for the team? Is this really the direction they want to be heading in? A lot of people were big fans of Impact and were like, is this trade for Licorice going to work, trade out for Licorice going to work out? And if he can keep putting up numbers like that, if he can keep having performances like that, I'd say the answer is yes. But the rest of the team, we talked about Smoothie doing his role, constantly keeping the team safe. Sneaky, constantly pushing up. I love watching Sneaky play AD carry because he's so confident in his movements. It's like you mentioned, dodging away from the stuns, those slight adjustments. He doesn't waste time overcorrecting. He doesn't waste time playing too safe. He's always where he needs to be, which makes him a lot of fun to watch as an AD carry.
Yeah, and Cloud9, a whole bunch of the criticism towards them as well was, you know, Jensen kind of has to carry everybody sometimes. And it's like one person steps up, another one slumps, and back and forth. And finding consistency has always been an issue for them. But if Licorice is able to have more performances like this, they'll have multiple carries across the map. And that's something that bodes well for them moving forward because that was definitely a worry, like you said, with the rookie coming in.
A solid Cloud9 victory. But to get their thoughts on that game, let's throw it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. Solid to say the least as Cloud9 moved to 2-0 at the end of week 1. But really what I want to focus on here is the 2 new additions to the roster. Again, during the offseason, one of the orgs that was criticized most for their moves was Cloud9. People saying that perhaps this was a downgrade, if anything, over Impact contracts being the previous holders of those 2 roles. So, Licorice, Svenskeren, 2-0 week is a great way to start. But what's our thought on their individual performances?
Yeah, so a lot of times you'd expect C9 to be slow starters. And if that just means the first game where they were slow starters at the start of the week, that's it. But in this game, they came flying out of the gates, especially this 2v2, which turned into a 2v3 thanks to Licorice's run.
I mean, everyone played this super well. I love High going, using his ult to grab another flash to get out of that fight. They disengage it, back off, really nice skirmish, but Licorice has had priority in this top lane this entire time, having that counter pick. So he roams down, he's able to re-engage this fight as Svenskeren does. He baits out the Jarvan going in. You see all the stopwatches getting popped. That's why it's so hype. And they eventually go in and get the double kill off the back of the Licorice run.
I mean, I gotta give props to the way that High played that. You called the DR for the pickup on the flash, but as well as the Drowsy on the stealth Svenskeren as he's coming in. I mean, just incredibly well played from all sides. But to your point, it's the rookie on the team that makes the veteran play in roaming down to the mid lane to secure a double kill right off the start.
And he was in the disadvantageous matchup yesterday when he was getting invaded constantly by Darshan and Reignover. So he was very good to use that moment of pressure to make the roam, which doesn't happen often with rookie junglers. As soon as they're winning, they're like, great, it's not going bad. I'm going to continue to do this. He actually takes the risk to leave lane and makes a good play.
And Licorice in the challenger scene, if people didn't watch him there, he was not like, I'm a tank player, I just hope my teammates carry me. He was a carry a primary portion of the season where he's playing things like Camille all the time and snowballing leads. And so you can maybe start looking forward to performances like this more often.
I mean, that seems to play perfectly into what you said yesterday, that the top lane feels like the X factor in League of Legends right now, right? In terms of what can be played there. We've seen Lucian top, we've still seen some tanks be prevalent at times, and more of those bruiser carries.
Yeah, I think mid lane actually is currently a little bit limited. It's actually a pretty small pool. It's the jungle and top lane where you really get to flex your team composition muscles and decide what you want to play. Look at the damage spread thanks a little bit to their team composition.
I mean, but that's so interesting, right? If those are the two roles where we're going to see kind of the most diversity, it's almost a little bit of a scary thought that the two newest members to the team are the ones who are charged with, you know, kind of filling that role.
Yeah, but at least Licorice, so far, first test, passed with flying colors, obviously, plays GP, like you said, losing matchup, comes out okay after a little bit of abuse, but plays the rest of the game great. And here he has commanded the lane the entire time, and him and Sven showed a ton of synergy, constantly gaking down them before finally breaking the game open like that.
Well, a 2-0 week and a very solid performance from the rookie. Let's hear from the man himself. Time now to send it down to Avli May, who's standing by with Cloud9's rookie.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Licorice, and congratulations on your win. Yesterday, you were getting bullied, picked on a little bit by Clutch Gaming, but today, you break out the Kled, you floor everyone with it. You didn't die once. What's it like to start off your NALCS season with a 2-0?
I mean, it feels pretty good. Like, the first day was a little bit rough. Like, they tried to focus top lane a little bit more than I expected, and we still came out with a win. And then today, they kind of, like, ignored top lane, so I was kind of left to do my own thing, so it feels really good.
Well, you came straight from the Challenger scene. Can you tell me a little bit about your transition from playing in the Challenger scene to the NALCS?
There's definitely been like a learning curve for sure. Like when we first started scrimming, I was kind of just running around and killing myself a lot. And we've tried to like fix that, and it's a process and we're getting there. So, I mean, I think just like Reaper's been great at helping me like fix what I need to fix. So it's good.
So can you tell me a little bit about your experience now just being on Cloud9, maybe more with Reaper and even learning from the team?
I mean, coming into Cloud9, I was kind of expecting that I'd be like on Maokai duty, where I was just like, I'm the new guy, you know, like give him a tank, he'll sit up there into the top lane. But Reaper's been like super good about, and I mean the rest of the team too have been super good about letting me play what I want and like kind of experimenting and just trying to figure out what's good. And they're not trying to like pigeonhole me into like a specific type of like play. So it's been really nice on Cloud9.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds like you know what you're going to do, but how are you going to show the world that you are this new rookie coming in and you're here to win?
I guess we'll just look for the 2-0 next week as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for this interview, and stick around because after we take a quick short commercial break, we're going to have Echo Fox versus Clutch Gaming.
Svenskeren going to be put to sleep. The Drowsy comes out. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble not quite able to find the mark. It's still High grabbing the first blood, but he dies for it. Contract's going to be killed number 2.
I have don't hit him. Now. No.
Go. Black is already down. Hit Sneaky with it.
Oh,
Pop Moody was like, I'm on my way, but not quite.
I need help. I'm low as fuck.
I'm on Varus.
Okay.
Looking to. Varus is dead.
Nice. I'm walking up with you guys.
Licorice sounds the horn. He charges in. What can they find? They're able to get Matt. They're able to get Contracts. They're able to get Deathly. It's 3 dead on the side of the Golden Guardians. And 38 minutes in, Cloud9 defeat the Golden Guardians
playing as Huni is gonna be really nice because I haven't seen this guy like since the Fnatic time, so I'm really excited to see him and also play against him. And I hope he's not gonna roam down to mid too much. If I can roam to top, I will roam to top. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I mean, don't give him ideas, Febivin. Yeah. Hello and welcome back for the final game of the weekend and the only game today that these two analysts differed in their predictions. We've got, of course, Echo Fox on the blue side, Clutch Gaming on the red. Jat, Echo Fox faith here. Mark, 2 days in a row, you're voting against them. What's up with that?
It's really hard to, and I will admit I am not super confident in this prediction because anytime you say Huni's playing against Solo after stomping yesterday, it's very hard to be like, yeah, that probably won't happen again. But
that's essentially been your entire argument for Echo Fox over these 2 days is Huni. Yeah.
And their bot lane is good, right? They've had bad moments as well, but their bottom lane is really good.
To be fair to Echo Fox, they do have what is a very threatening lineup, apparently. So it's understandable why you would go with Echo Fox.
Right, okay, so let's run through these lineups, because of course it isn't just Huni in the top lane. He's got 4 members on that Echo Fox roster behind him, but he has showcased himself to be one of the true carries in this league.
Dude, yesterday he played against FlyQuest, was 100 CS up against Flame on Lucian, but the rest of this team played quite well too. Dardoch was very close, in my opinion, to getting player of the game on his Zac play. Altec and Adrian, as we mentioned, had some big success late in the summer split on Dignitas that fell apart a little in the playoffs, and we know Phoenix has been good in the past. So there are elements that work for this team, and we talked about this yesterday as well. It can blow up early, but just talent level alone, they are stacked.
Right, but that's the constant nagging question, right? In the back of your head is when it implodes.
But it looked good yesterday.
Be bad,
so I'm
right?
all in.
And so yeah, we're all in for now. If we flip over to that red side, it is Clutch Gaming picked up a win yesterday. I know we're hot on the 3/5 Envy roster that's now replaced both their solo laners and looking fairly strong.
Yeah, not just the 3/5 Envy of Lyra, Apollo, and Hakuho, but Fabivin came in yesterday, had a great performance, comboing very well with Lyra. The two of them worked with each other to actually snowball an advantage. And Solo on the top side did a fine job surviving against Lorlo, and he's going to be looking to get his second win ever in the LCS. And it's first 2-0 weekend then.
Right, but now we talk about those solo laners in their addition to Clutch Gaming. Solo's job has gotten a lot harder today up there against Huni in terms of, just the 1v1 matchup.
Exactly, and a lot of it will come down to the synergy he has with the jungler as well. At the very top of the show today, we talked about how Lyra and Febivin may be the best jungle mid duo, but that has to be able to work up to the top side. So, like, the last guy Lyra was jungling for was Seraph, and very rarely did they seem to pull much off. So you wonder if Lyra would be able to help him out because Huni creates so much pressure on his own. It's going to be a very fun game.
Let me ask you this. Oh my goodness, Clutch Gaming does decide to go to the top side to try and help Solo in that matchup versus Huni. Is the solution for Dardoch to match it in the 2v2 pressure, saying we'll outplay you, or is it to go elsewhere on the map and swing it?
I mean, it's obviously going to be very draft dependent, but generally speaking, I feel like Apollo and Hakuho are stable enough that you will have a hard time exploiting them just because the jungler's up on the other side of the map. They know their jungler's up there as well, and Apollo and Hakuho usually don't get blown up for that reason. So I feel like that would be risky to go for unless you actually have picks to support that.
Yeah, and I kind of had these two teams as teams with lots of potential that were in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
And what is really cool is the winner is 2-0 and starts out really strongly. I was super impressed by both of these teams yesterday. 15 kills to 2 was Echo Fox over FlyQuest. 7 kills to 2 was Clutch Gaming over Golden Guardians. Both played really well. And these are the early season matchups where it's like the two surprise teams play against each other, and one of them's still going to be undefeated. Some of my favorite games.
Yeah, one of these teams is going to be joining some big names there at the top of the table at the end of this match. Time now for us to throw it over to Captain Flowers and Zyrene to bring us into that match.
Thank you very much, Dash. It's time to get into the last match of the day and the week. One final showdown between our last 2 remaining teams.
Yeah, and one of them is going to end the week, like they were saying, 2-0, whether it's Clutch Gaming or Echo Fox. I can't wait to see what's going on with these two teams because Echo Fox is the one where Huni, even in his post-game interview, was saying momentum is important, right? This team, people said they have a lot of egos. Maybe not as bad as the public had thought, and was his perspective, but they do need to keep that momentum up. A 2-0 for them would do wonders. And Clutch Gaming, talking about 3/5 of that Envy roster that went from 10th to 6th, trajectory would say they keep going up.
Exactly. Let's see what they can do now as we get into the final champion select of the day. Tom Kench and Callista, those safety ensuring champions banned away by Echo Fox. Clutch Gaming taking out the Kog'Maw and the Gangplank.
So, lesson from yesterday would be do not blind pick your top laner against Huni.
Nope.
We will see what happens here because Clutch Gaming ended up going for that red side.
Lesson from 20 minutes ago, don't let Zoe through bans. Because even if you win, it's annoying.
Well, especially when Tom Kench is banned.
Right,
they
right,
banned
right.
it themselves. So.
Yeah, so you got to take that off the table. So Echo Fox will remove the Zoe. Clutch Gaming, one more ban to go before the picks start off. They will be targeting that Shen. Let's see what Echo Fox wants to do for this one. Goes with the sure thing. The Ezreal, we've already talked about why this is so strong. The Klepto, the mobility, the poke, the power spike in the mid game, that's locked in.
Doesn't really have too many bad matchups either. I think the only one I can really think of is Vayne, and even then Vayne just, you really have to be very close to deal your damage later in the game, and you could get poked out. But Tristana is one that they're going to try to pick up here for Apollo. Apollo, Hakuho. This bottom lane has become kind of, people were saying they were overrated before, or underrated before. Now it's become overrated last split, and now it's like, where do they actually stand?
Now they're
they
rated.
have been good, and they have constantly gotten better. And Hakuho really impressed me yesterday with his teleport to mid on Ornn and the plays he was making. But I want to see Apollo kind of step up and make more plays himself.
Yeah, the teleport support Ornn play was pretty awesome to see. We'll have to see what he can do on the Braum if he can be that flashy. But on the side of Echo Fox, it's the bird for Phoenix picking up the Azir, as it looks like they might be thinking about doing a little bit along the lines of what CLG was doing, picking a range support into the melee support that's already been locked in for a bit of extra lane power. And the Janna, nope, going with the Gnar for Huni.
They're going to say, all right, you just have to blind pick your top laner here for Huni. Picks himself the Gnar. Thinking there aren't too many counters that he doesn't mind playing into, but there are some things that could be picked up here. The Azir, though, is the big one for me, because now you've picked both of your solo laners. They will be able to counter one before the bans come out. And the Azir for Phoenix, that signature champion for this guy, you really can't get the multiple kills that he got out of your head when CLG dove him a few years ago.
I was really hoping to see the Zed get locked in there for Viven, but we're not going to get to see that today. Clutch Gaming instead going to be picking up that Rise there for themselves. We've already seen the popularity so far. Nope, really surprised to see it locked in again. Moving on to the second part of the bans, it's Alistair taken out first for Clutch Gaming. Supports and junglers going to be where they're targeting. Meanwhile, Echo Fox going to be looking to ban away junglers and top laners.
Yeah, potentially top laners, I would think, don't push down that jungle pool too much unless you really don't want to pick Evelynn yourself and you're afraid of like Lyra having the Evelynn Rise combination that we just saw in the last game. And looks like Kha'Zix is the name of the game there for them, so maybe they will go for those junglers too.
And I mean, remember, let's flash back to 2017. Let's flash back to spring where Lyra was on 10th place Envy, but yet was all NALCS jungler. That was something that a lot of people were surprised by. And it was because he played so well, and a lot of his really good plays came out on aggressive champions like that Kha'Zix, those carnivorous junglers. So they're going to ban that one away from him, as the Rengar is banned out by Clutch, keeping that one out of the hands of Dardoch. One more ban to go for Echo Fox. Who's it going to be? There's your Eve.
Yeah, the Evelynn, now that I remembered about her and saw her in the last game, I think those combinations with the Rise route are really two very powerful ones. But then there's Jarvan also available that can kind of accomplish the same thing.
Okay, powerhouse in the top lane for solo. The thing is, though, part of what makes Ornn a powerhouse is how strong he is against melee champions. And Huni, he's not playing a melee champion.
Yeah, he's
well, not a true melee champion.
True. He's playing that Gnar in the top lane. He's going to try to bully him out, but I feel like the Ornn has a rough matchup like he does against all those ranged champions. And Huni will have the advantage, but the question is just how far will that advantage go?
Dardoch on the Zac.
Once again.
Yep, played it yesterday, gonna play it again today. The Zac attack is back as the Taric is locked in support. We've been seeing a lot of Taric with the way these games tend to go long, with the way it's all about protect the hyperscaling AD carry, the way it's all about double relic shield, you heal me, I heal you.
Yeah, when Shen, Tom Kench, Braum, and Alistar are all taken away from you, the Taric is really the one that jumps up there as the support that you can take that still uses relic shield. There's, I believe, like 5 of them that are really prominent, and it's those 5. But then that Sejuani is the last one for Lyra, because we don't really know him too much as that tank player, somebody who really gets that front line going. He's more of an invader. I wonder what mastery, or I called it masteries.
I do the same thing all the time. I honestly do the same thing all the time. Yeah. I'm still learning the new system. But give us time. Give us time. We'll get there.
Yeah, but the keystone that he'll be taking, because Fleet Footwork is something we saw in the last game. I didn't talk about it much, but then Aftershock seems to be a little bit more popular in the North American LCS for Sejuani.
It was the LPL, I believe.
Yes.
It was doing all the Fleet Footwork on Sejuani. And you were actually the one who explained it to me as not having attack speed runes on Sejuani feels real bad, man.
Yeah.
And the fleet footwork is not as useless as press the attack and lethal tempo on her. So you take that, you get your attack speed, you're able to get those passive stacks better, and generally just feel more coherent without feeling sluggish.
Yeah, I felt really laggy once I lost my attack speed reds in my runes. So went for the precision tree, which gives you that 18%, and then legend alacrity, which gives you even more. And then you feel really good in those fights. You have that cadence back to stack up 4 very quickly and get that stun off.
All right, now looking at these two teams, I see Echo Fox, a team that, despite the fact they've been in the LCS for a while now, has never made playoffs. On the other side, I see Clutch Gaming comprised of 3 out of 5 of those Envy members that last season, again, although they did make playoffs and take CLG to 5 games in summer, they were 10th place, dead last in spring. So both of these teams have been aboard the struggle bus in the past. Both of them now, after looking at their Game 1 performances, which again, we can't make sweeping conclusions based off of, but they both had solid first games, so this might be the time that the bus finally stops and they get off.
Yeah. Clutch Gaming, though, they're going to go to this top side of the jungle, and like you said with those, with the struggle buses and their stops, I do feel like this Echo Fox, though, like the Echo Fox organization has not been in playoffs, but this is a team that actually has people who have all been in playoffs. No, all at least been to the semifinals of playoffs.
Or the finals of Worlds if you're looking at top lane.
There you go. But like, if anything, you're looking at Huni plus Adrian, and then you're looking at Phoenix plus Dardoch, and saying, okay, there's 2 people here, like basically 2 people on this team have all kind of played with each other, right? It's like Huni, Adrian, Altec, and then Phoenix, Dardoch. So everybody has at least played with somebody else on the team at least once.
It's a buddy system.
Right?
It's
Bring
just,
a friend.
It's just Adrian has 2 buddies.
I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, and that's how Echo Fox was.
Yeah, and then we all know each other's guys because we're all on the same team now. Everybody knows the guys.
Yeah. Oh, and Lyra taking the fleet footwork on the Sejuani. So yes, this actually makes you have all that attack speed plus the Hunter's Machete. So you stack up to 4 very quickly on your passive. So you end up doing auto, W, and then you auto, E auto, and it's very fluid. But also keep in mind, the fleet footwork, if you run into somebody in the jungle and you want to do that combo, it's easier to land your W because the fleet footwork gives you a burst of movement speed. So your first auto attack, you start running at them and you have that W charging. So landing those 2 parts becomes much easier to do.
And fleet footwork, remember, is one of the very few keystones that procs outside of champions. So although it's super minuscule, you'll still get an extra little bit of healing as you make your clears and go through your jungle to keep yourself topped off. Speaking of being topped off, the Vivin is far from it as he falls prey to Phoenix's Azir early on.
Yeah. I feel like playing against Phoenix's Azir, it's kind of a death sentence. We talk about signature champions. I know there was this era where everybody's playing Azir, everybody's good at it, but Phoenix's Azir is honestly just a different type of beast to play against. This guy, when it was a popular champion, people would sometimes make the mistake of not banning it against him. And now that it was in that S tier and it's fallen down just a tiny bit, I would say it's like, you know, that S minus, that A plus area where it's not the Malzahar Rise that people are taking, it's going to fall into his hands sometimes. But is it going to become like Hugi's Aurelian Soul? Is it going to be the ban
it every single game? Right now, it's looking pretty ferocious as he's maintained perfect CS 19-6.
Yeah, but look at that. It's just pretty disgusting. He's gotten all the potions out of Febivin. Febivin just hit level 3 and he's at 250 HP. Phoenix has not been touched, has not used a potion. He's 10 CS up, and he's going to get more. Blah!
That's so much damage. Fabivin's actually got to be scared about getting himself killed now. I mean, we talk about stopwatches and how those stop dives, but we also talk about how they don't come online until 6 minutes.
Yeah, Lyra's going to have to hover this lane and really help him out. Phoenix playing to the top half because Dardoch is over there, but he's so far up that actually ganking this is so strange as a jungler. Like, you really want to go after it, but it's like,
your mid laner's
he's not going to do anything. Your mid laner's not going to do anything. He's going to have to go back, swap for TP, and then TP in, even just to hold in this lane against Phoenix.
Lyra thinking about counter jungling towards those Krugs, maybe. Popping over the wall with the Blast Cone. Altec and Adrian moved up a little bit now. If they keep pushing up, Lyra might have the opportunity to make some sort of a move down here. Have to see Apollo and Hakuo just sort of farming up blow for blow right now with their opponents. Jumping in, though. Apollo and Hakuo trying to force this one. Grabbing some good damage down onto Altec. Not quite able to find the Winter's Bite stun, but they do manage to make the explosive charge go off. They know they've got Lyra hanging around, so they feel comfortable making that 2 versus 2 aggro decision like that. They're saying, okay, even if Dardoch is around, Lyra's around too, and we think we can win the 3 versus 3. Remember, these 3 players are the ones that marketed themselves as a trio going into the offseason. They were like, look, we want to be on a team, and we want to be on a team together. Now let's see if that pays off. Lyra coming in, looking for some stuns, looking for some damage. All tech. Getting himself back, though. Lyra taken too low. They can't continue this. No summoners blown on the side of Fox.
That actually gives Dardoch a better back timer, so we'll see what ends up happening with that, because he bought his items. Now Lyra's going to have to do that. Lyra's about 15 seconds slower to be back out on the map, which gives you a little bit of a time window, but he may spot Dardoch here with the zombie ward at the Raptor.
All right, well, things were looking dire in the mid lane for Vivian there for a bit, but he has recovered. He's still behind about 10 CS, which you don't want to be, but at the same time, he doesn't have 6.
He only, in my opinion, he only recovered because Phoenix had to back there. So I feel like the struggle bus is going to have another stop here.
Well, for now, he's not on the bus. He's just hanging out at the stop, waiting around on the bench, reading something on his phone.
Phoenix is the fiver, apparently. Waiting to get picked up by it again. But Huni in the top lane, look at that CS. We're talking about Solo.
27. Now, of course, there are a few minions here for Solo to farm up, catch up a little bit. But at the same time, you can see the way these lanes are going. Phoenix is controlling his lane. Huni is controlling his lane, which then allows Dardoch more room to move around, more room to potentially look for opportunities, while Lyra's always got to be careful. I know my lanes can't roam to back me up. Always got to be looking out.
Yeah. Dardoch on that top side. Solo bought the Glacial Shroud just now. Is it in a diveable position? Is the question. They see Dardoch farming here.
What's going on? Dardoch stealing away the Krugs. Good ward placement to make sure that they're keeping track of that. And that's kind of what I was alluding to, right? When you look at the fact that your laners are getting shoved in like that, you expect the enemy jungler to make some forward moves, so you want to place those wards to keep track of him. And now under the turret, Solo, remember he's got the Ignite right now.
He literally just hit level 6. Dardoch's going to try to take aggro. He has stopwatch.
Right, Dardoch goes in, Megadar slammed into the wall. The CC is too much. The first blood over to Huni.
Wham, bam, they take him down in that top lane. Oh my god. They just demolished him. Solo saw that coming a mile away, and he doesn't have stopwatch to deal with it or anything of that sort. And Huni played it perfectly with making sure that he's not proccing his Meganar just yet, and then he goes in for it. And they take down Solo before he can even react. He can't even use his ultimate. He had just hit level 6 and wasn't able to dissuade that dive. And look at that CS advantage. Huni is a monster. He is an absolute beast. And seeing him back in the North American LCS, it's really refreshing.
All right, let's take a look at how this dive happened one more time here.
You see him, and then you see him again, but this time he's really big at you. And Huni, there he transforms. Now he's going to flash, knock him into the wall for no reaction, and they're just going to pick him up without even having to use Dardoch's stopwatch or passive to do so.
Meanwhile, Clutch Gaming, going for that first Mountain Drake. Pretty early one. Honestly, if you're looking at the game clock, you're not even 7.5 minutes in, so they're grabbing that early neutral objective for themselves.
It's because they got to take control of that bottom half jungle. Whenever you're doing something in League of Legends, you're trading sides, right? As soon as you see Dardoch topside make that dive, boom, light up that bottom side like a light bright and see all those red wards that are in the jungle of Echo Fox's southern side. That allows them to get that Drake, and that's what they end up trading for that top lane turret dive.
They go right back into their spots, farming up. Very even CS between the bottom laners. The most even on the map, actually. You've still got that small lead for Phoenix there in the mid lane. The mounting larger and larger lead in the top lane for Huni. That's mid lane gang from Dardoch going to be finding its way onto Forbidden. There comes your Lutch. Bounce, pulling him back to the ball.
Get the ulti!
He couldn't get himself out with the ulti in time. A misclick from Forbidden ends up getting him killed, and Phoenix cashes in.
I don't blame him for that at all, because that actually looked like Echo Fox were saying, we're going to put this guy in the bounce house, and he's not going to be able to move, and that's going to make you flub your inputs very highly, because you don't really have control of your character for a very long time, and as soon as you do, he was almost dead anyway.
Well played from Echo Fox, making these moves early in both solo lanes. We talked about the successes of the laners. We talked about how that opened up opportunity for Dardoch, and that opportunity is paying off. Dardoch has always been such a question mark in terms of, is he going to work out with this team? He's currently got quite a resume of playing on multiple different teams, and none of those have worked out for him in the long term. Could this Echo Fox team finally be the one that Dardoch can find that success with? Because so far, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, Dardoch, had a realization in the offseason that people weren't jumping to contact him and pick up his contract But look at this. They're just going to chase Solo down. He has Flash. He has his ultimate. Is this going to be a case where Huni, he is just chewing this rookie up and spitting him out? That is a top lane. Ah, Dardoch got all the gold.
All right, so Dardoch takes all the gold. He's like, all right, look, I need my payday. I came up and helped you. This is what my tax is. That's how you really tax your laner right there. You take the first turret gold.
Dardoch has more gold than his top laner right now by 200.
That's
He's got the most on his team.
You tax the top laner so hard, you take more gold. But looking at Huni, okay, gold tax aside, looking at Huni, coming back to North America from his time on SKT, like he's clearly learned the ways. He's got it down already. He knows the way,
brother.
He knows the way. But coming back to North America, this guy was on SKT, the premier esports team in the premier esports region. When you look at Huni on a team like SKT and the players he was with, Huni was the question mark, right? Can this guy step up and perform with everybody else? When you go back to North America, when you look at Huni on the squad he's on now with Echo Fox, Huni goes from the question mark to the exclamation point. You're like, holy cow, we got Huni, we got the SKT player, we got the guy who was doing so well, but now, can he get himself away? The Orn Horn gets founded. Glacial Prison not quite going to find its exact mark, but it still gets the slow into the CC, and right as I praise Huni, Clutch Gaming shuts him down.
You did it! The caster curse is
Caster
well
cursed him all the way back to the spawn platform. We'll see in 20 seconds.
Yeah, but this is Huni's style where he's just going to push up that top lane to the tier 2 relentlessly and then find opportunities to collapse on mid. But speaking of collapsing on mid, hit him, hit the turret, boom,
Slap them together. Oh, let's bounce. Not quite going to be finding it this time around. Faviven says, nope, not repeating this. Still has bad memories from the last time, flashing away from that one. But Phoenix maintains control. 20 CS lead there in the mid lane, 30 CS lead in the top lane. Pretty even here on the bottom side, which is what Clutch needs. Like, you've got to have at least one of these lanes holding on, and especially if it's going to be your hyper carry, that's fine.
Yeah, and we saw Apollo and Hakuho have really good laning phase. We were looking at like CSD and stuff like that last year, and Apollo was near the top for a very large portion of the split, like number 1 or 2. And it was surprising, but in this matchup here, where he will have pressure on him, he is still doing incredibly well. But there hasn't been any jungle attention from really either side on that bottom part of the map. It's been Dardoch playing to those top lanes. This feels a little bit like Immortals in 2016 in the beginning. Playing to that top side, playing to your solo laners, and leaving somebody like Adrian, back when it was Adrian Wild Turtle, on an island by themselves, right? You had the sustained support. It's like, all right, nothing's going to happen down here.
Give that one a couple.
What is going on?
Give that one a couple of question mark pings. It's fine. It'll work itself out. Dardoch breaks his stopwatch on accident. You ever been walking down the sidewalk, something falls out of your pocket and it breaks on the ground? That's what happened to Dardoch. He broke his watch.
Man,
feels bad, man.
Phones break so easily nowadays.
They really do. You got to be careful.
I mean, I assume that's Dardoch being like, Huni, I'm sorry about the turret here. Boom.
I took your gold. Let me give you a gold sack back as a present. But that could end up being a problem later. We'll have to see if there's any moment where I'm like, man, a stopwatch could have really changed the outcome of this fight here. And if it did, then we'll come back to this moment. But for now, not really that big of a worry. 120 CS for your Gnar, 88 on the Ornn. Gnar's already got Black Cleaver. Ornn has a Catalyst of Aeons and a Glacial Shroud. That's not really a very good comparison between the money on these two guys. The Gnar, very, very strong. Plus, we know he's just so oppressive in this matchup. We talked in Champion Select. Ornn's strengths are the fact that he's so effective at trading against melee champions. Stuff that he can keep at bay from himself, utilizing the power of his knockback and his bellows breath. Gnar doesn't care about that. Gnar's just going to keep throwing boomerangs at him. He's going to throw auto attacks at him. It just doesn't matter that much. So Huni's in a really fantastic spot right now. Phoenix in the mid lane has the Stinger already built for himself. Nashor's Tooth and Mercury Treads now completed. Isn't that the build on Azir these days?
Nashor's Tooth? Yeah, Nashor's Tooth usually, if you want... Oh, that was
he
really
got
good.
the hop. Solo tries to knock him away. The auto attacks continue. Not quite able to go the full distance, though. Meanwhile, blue turret destroyed. It's not a real turret. It's kind of the pseudo Azir turret, the Sun Disc, dropping there in the mid lane where it was constructed on top of the ruins of the former Clutch mid turret. It's 2-1 in terms of those objectives. So that's part of the reason why you've got this nearly 4,000 gold lead for the side of Echo Fox, only 13 minutes in. Stun onto Apollo, but there's your Tristana CC buffer.
Yeah, they have that top turret and that mid turret down, and Clutch Gaming only really able to get that neutral trait as their one objective back. this bottom turret, you have to feel like that's where they're going to go next here. Might swap it up. They'll bring Azir down. And Phoenix, you were asking about that build. I feel like if you're asking anybody about builds, I'm just going to defer to Phoenix on the Azir build here.
If Phoenix did it, it's right.
Exactly.
All right, because I've seen a couple of variations, right? You see this, and then sometimes you see the Morellos with the Surfer Greaves. So, as somebody who has only ever played Azir in an ARAM and threw my ult backwards, I'm not very well versed in the champion.
Yeah, I like this though because in the version where you go Morellos and Zerker Greaves, you don't get the tenacity, and the tenacity is the biggest thing here up against the Sejuani and a Rise.
And a Ornn.
And an Ornn. And you don't want to be blowing your cleanse on something just willy-nilly if you can actually survive it and get away, right?
Fair enough point. Without the attack speed on the boots then, you would need the Nashor's Tooth, but Altec just hanging out. He knows that he can't move up right now. His support's not nearby to support him, so he's just got to wait for that minion wave to collide into him instead. Hakuo with that demolish that we were talking about, some supports potentially taking, as Clutch Gaming now getting themselves a little bit of extra global gold into the pockets, 3,500 gold down. We saw Dardoch solo the second elemental Drake of the game, the Ocean Drake, just a minute ago. Now he's moving on to the Rift Herald, but he will have some help with this one. Neutral objective game going away of Echo Fox as we move into the mid-game. Laning starting to end slowly but surely as the first turrets do get taken down. Phoenix moving back towards that mid lane. Rift Herald, a lot of times, Irene, we see it used to take down something in mid, but mid's already gone. There's a lot of possibilities.
Tier 2, let's go.
Tier 2.
I feel like
even deeper.
Yeah, I feel like if you get the tier 2, it helps you get that bottom tier 1 a little bit easier. Versus if you use it on bottom, that doesn't really help you get the tier 2 mid as easily. So ideally, you'd want to be able to get that tier 2 in the middle lane, but they may go for just the bottom side because it's kind of the progression that you would naturally use or naturally go through for taking those outers and finally getting in. But we'll see what happens here, but I am just fixated on this Azir from Phoenix. He is at 187 CS at 16 minutes, and just seeing his Azir after it's been so long, right? He played in Challenger for a bit. This is really also another bit. I feel like Echo Fox is a bit refreshing for me to watch because it's like Huni's back in the NALCS. You have Phoenix here on Azir. It's kind of a blast from the past.
Altec and Adrian that were making waves in their own right towards the end of Summer Split in 2017. And then Dardoch, the potential redemption story. There's a lot of cool things that could happen with this Echo Fox roster. And right now, it's working out. Granted, we are 1.5 games in.
They have not lost yet.
They have not lost the game.
That's
Once
where
they
like,
lose, that's when we start being like, oh, okay, I don't know what's going on anymore. That's when you jump ship.
That's probably have like a little thing in their house. It's like break glass in case of loss.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when you start worrying about, well, what about the momentum slip, right? I mean, Huni was the one talking about the momentum slip. But in all seriousness, though, Huni did talk about how momentum would be a big factor for this team.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to see if they can manage to keep that going. Coming out of week 1, you mentioned at the beginning of this game, Irene, one of these two teams, which were both mostly projected to be towards the middle of the pack, is going to go 2-0.
Yeah. Look at this, Huni taking this red buff, or at least fighting for it, whereas Rift Herald's going down the bottom side.
Wants to get it.
Oh, reset.
Patient's going to reset. Huni goes over the wall, but 1 versus 3 is not really a fight that Mininar is going to do a lot.
Well, now they get to push bottom lane, and Phoenix is actually going back to mid, so he doesn't get pushed out. I feel like he's not going to find too much here, and he's actually putting himself in a compromised position because the Sejuani's behind him.
Shelly has a hard life, man.
Yeah.
You ever notice that? You get spawned, you ram your head into a big building one time, and then people just shoot you to death while your friends all run away.
I mean, it's even worse, because she spawns, and then
oh, you got to beat her
people
up.
come up and kill her.
Yeah.
You then
beat her on her, and then she's supposed to help you, but then you just abandon her to take the turret.
Yeah.
Then she conks her head off. Very unlucky life of a Rift Void creature. But she did serve her purpose. She did get that turret bottom side. Echo Fox now up 3-1 lead in terms of that.
Is it really that bad of a life if you fulfill your life purpose?
Shelly died a hero.
There you go.
F to pay respect. Trinity Force completed. Muramana fully evolved on Altec's Ezreal.
Ooh.
Now, the fight in the enemy jungle that they're trying to force. Echo Fox wanting to make the moves here, but the disengage from Clutch Gaming is enough to keep their jungler alive.
And that was a teleport from Huni to potentially back them up. And, you know, kind of icing on the cake here is Dardoch actually did get the red buff at the end of the day. He was able to smack them together, pick that one up for himself, and now he's going to the other side of the jungle where his team is already looking at trying to at least de-ward the area.
I like Dardoch's itemization choice here too. Going for the Spirit Visage second helps boost that innate healing that Zach has, as well as the fact that the enemy solo laners as well as the enemy jungler are all AP damage.
Yeah, you're against 3 AP, and then the bottom lane doesn't really have much going on just yet, so you're in a pretty good spot. You can just build HP for now and then have that MR on top of it.
I mean, even the bottom lane, the one item he has is a Static Shiv, which procs magic damage. Yeah. All right, I like it. Pushing up mid lane, Echo Fox. They've got the momentum control. They've got the tempo. What can they do with it? 4,000 gold lead. Lyra moving into the top side. Once again, trying to punish Huni here. Manages to land some slows, but now they've got to be careful because
you gotta stun him. You gotta stun him.
Just 1 versus 2 here.
Yeah, it's like, please stun him.
Trying to get a little bit more damage.
Whoa!
Dardoch going in. Comes in over the wall with the elastic slingshot. Phoenix tries to get the ultimate back. Doesn't quite find it. Still able to grab the kill. It's 2 for 0. Echo Fox. They go right back for the turret. Clutch cannot rotate in time. They're going to be able to bring that mid laner right back into their clutches. They take him down, and now it's bot lane standing alone. Huni marching relentlessly forward as the tier 2 falls.
And that fight was pretty much the story of the game. The bottom lane walks away without really getting a piece of the fight with 0-0-0 score lines, and the rest of the map is just getting pummeled in CS in these fights. And now the Baron is up, and they're ready to turn on.
They're like, you know what? We're not going to wait. Baron's already been alive for 33 seconds too long. Let's go ahead and get him off the map. Killing big purple void creatures is our thing. Let's do it again. Baron burns down. Not even 21 minutes into the game. Echo Fox, 8,000 gold up.
Yeah, this was a fight that Huni's just like, come here, everybody come. Boom, Adrian is already on his way. Dardoch up here too, and they're all ready to reinforce. Dardoch jumps in, and then they take out Lyra. And right here, Phoenix, unstoppable by the way. Looks like he doesn't quite get him, maybe, but the W, the Bellows Breath, potentially stop that knockback. It's hard to tell because he's right on that edge.
Now the Mountain Drake falls for Clutch Gaming. They managed to at least do a little bit of recovery after they lost the big neutral objective. They can at least grab the smaller one for themselves, make it so their opponents aren't just taking everything on the map. But now the great defense begins, Cyrene. You're 8,000 gold down. It's only 21 minutes into the game. Your opponents are incredibly strong, and you somehow have to weather this Baron buff storm for 2.5 more minutes.
Yeah,
it's a tall order.
You're 9,000 gold up. They have an Azir that's going to be able to poke. They have a lot of engage, and they have the Taric, which when the ultimate is back up, he's able to just throw the Cosmic Radiance down on the Zac as he enters, and Zac may bring you back some presence with the ultimate.
And let's not forget about the fact that Zac has a Guardian Angel built into his kit. He hasn't died at all. He hasn't had the passive proc at all.
Sold the stopwatch.
If he wants, yeah, he got breaking the stopwatch in the jungle, hasn't had a consequence at all. If he wants to make a dive, he's very capable of doing so. Clutch has to be so very aware of exactly what kind of a situation they could find themselves in.
And Fox, this seems to be a little bit more of the style they're gravitating towards. Yesterday, they only had a 29-minute game. It's 22 in this one, and there's the Cosmic Radiance.
Oh! Flank coming in. All tech can't be saved in time. Taking out that enemy 80 carry is huge. Hawkwell gonna be taking a lot of damage. Huni coming into the fight. Emperor's Divide swoops them back. Phoenix grabbing himself a killing spree with that one. Lyra gonna be taken low. Still 4 alive on the side of Echo Fox. But it's going to be Dardoch who gets that passive popped. Lyra underneath the turret, still hanging on. Clutch will not find anything else, but going 1 for 2 against a Baroned up team that's 9,000 gold ahead is absolutely what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best you could hope for in that situation. And the 2 kills go over to Apollo, who has not been put behind and is still doing well in this game. You're seeing... Felt like Huni really didn't get to do a whole lot in that fight. He jumped in, and then it looked like he was stunned for basically a millennia. He was there for so long. We'll see here. Altec flashes away, but he still gets picked up by Apollo's ultimate just coming through. And then Huni jumps in, transforms, stunned, rooted, airborne, stunned. Yeah, got to do almost nothing there, and then ultied right at the end.
An incredible CC chain to prevent what could have been potentially a Mega Gnar into an Azir wall that would have almost ended the game.
Yeah, would have been a disaster there, but that's the chain stunning there from having the Sejuani and the Braum on the same team. We used to talk about this as a big level 1 combination. We saw them try to invade level 1 and try to make use of it with the double stuns. But there we finally see it have some work, because this is kind of the first time we've seen Hakuo alongside Lyra outside of the bottom lane.
Clutch down 2 kills, but in this particular game of League of Legends, that means over 8,000 gold still. Despite that fight win, they've got a lot of work to do if they want to come back into this one. They did manage to put the brakes on that Baron push, though. That's what's really important. Slowing that down, removing that advantage from your opponents. Now they've got some breathing room, a little bit more time to scale, try to farm. Get Apollo, especially, to a point where he can make things happen in this game. He's got the Infinity Edge, he's got the Shiv. Needs one more item to really hit that power spike.
Yeah, Apollo's really the guy I have my eyes on here because of the fact that, you know, when you're looking at the scaling of this team composition, you will have the Orange scale pretty well, and if it does get to 6 items, he'll contribute with that extra forge item. But Apollo is really the one who's packing that punch. The Rise will come in handy for rotational play with the party portal into other areas.
Party portal, I like
yeah,
that.
it's when 5 people get in, it's time for Baron. It's the party portal.
All right, Alltech jumping forward to find some poke onto Hakuo. Now the real difficult work begins, because for Clutch, you've got to defend this inhibitor with nothing helping you. This is essentially a fight in open ground.
Lyra's on the flank here.
Hakuo's half dead, and getting deader as more poke comes in. You blow the horn, they run for horn. Not quite today, though. Dardoch bouncing himself away. Cosmic Radiance going to be used. Ulti's pop defensively from Echo Fox.
Yeah, I feel like this Azir is just so threatening. They don't want to engage on Phoenix. He has that break point where he's at 2.5, almost 3 items here, but he's still so powerful that he just gets to kind of impose his will on the game with the range that he has with the soldiers.
Mid lane inhibitor down, provides extra pressure now for all of Echo Fox. They can concentrate on the side lanes. They can go for the Ocean Drake in 90 seconds. They can go for the Baron here in 2 minutes. Things are still going their way. They just have to make sure that they close it out cleanly. They don't want any more mistakes like what happened underneath that mid lane inhibitor. Granted, they would have to make quite a few of them to throw a lead this big. But now you've got the Sterix, the Warmog, the Black Cleaver on the Gnar. Your Zac working on getting some armor itemization to deal with that Tristana that's starting to farm up some items. You already mentioned the Azir power spike as Ezreal's coming into more damage of his own. Blade of the Ruined King just now picked up. As I say it, this team is frightening Zyro.
Yeah, and it's even getting scarier as it goes. The Dark Seal for Phoenix with the 7 stacks because he's pretty much been untouched this game. And I wonder what he's going to end up doing to affect this, because Phoenix on his Azir, we know him as somebody who knows the difference of when he should be diving in and Azir-secking somebody, and when he should be just in the back kind of commanding the troops, firing away.
1 minute till Baron. Echo Fox not really concerned about that Ocean Drake at all. Much more concerned with setting up vision early, which is exactly what you want to see. The time to ward for Baron isn't when Baron spawns. It's a minute or 2 before Baron. Set everything up. Be ready to pull that trigger as soon as you see anybody out of position.
Yeah, but here's the thing is you have to worry about that mid lane with the super minions if you're Clutch Gaming, and you have to worry about Huni on the bottom side, who is about to have his teleport back up. He'll have it up right before Baron spawns. So he's in a good spot here, and he's still beating solo in that side lane. 70 CS up right now.
Sundisk manufactured on the top lane tier 2 of Clutch Gaming.
This
That's
gives you
gonna be
pressure
a
in every
base of
lane.
operations. As now here comes your party portal, but over the wall goes Huni. The Ram comes in, flash over the wall from Solo, looking to take him down. Mega Gnar trying to keep his opponent
Engage
away.
top
Huni
side.
flashing out. Meanwhile, top side, they're looking to make moves. They know there's 2 bottom. No minions to help them remove the backdoor protections on that turret means they have to back away, but Huni lives.
Yeah, but he gets the flash out of both Horn and Feathervin there. Multiple summoners actually from Feathervin who really wanted to kill him. It's like, Fnatic, man, remember the days.
Remember the days. Blast from the past, but sadly the blast is not strong enough to take down the very fed Gnar. And now the push continues here on the top side.
And his
We
turret is
talked
still low.
about Phoenix imposing his will on the game, and he only needs a couple more auto attacks to do just that as Huni goes for the Ocean Drake.
Yeah, Huni knows what to do with space. We saw him threaten the red buff earlier. We saw him go and try to extend for a tier 2 and got caught. But he really does just kind of push the limits and say, hey, if you need 2 people to answer me, then I'm going to try to put you in a bad situation and lose-lose every time. They got 3 summoner spells on that one, and then they also got damage on that top turret, and then they got the Ocean Drake afterwards. So he's really just kind of doing a win more type of play. When you're already ahead, you just keep pushing that advantage with the split pushing.
And honestly, if you're winning, why wouldn't you want to win more? It's the play that's working out for this team, right? Huni constantly providing that pressure. That's what we're talking about with this guy being the exclamation point. He's where he needs to be. He's this constant issue. And if you're Clutch, this is so hard to deal with because you've got that in bottom lane, you've got the down inhibitor in mid, and the pressure on Baron.
And he has such an interesting build here too, because a lot of times we saw Frozen Mallet, right? Well, it looks like he has the Black Cleaver into the Sterix for surviving Burst if he does get Burst down. Also gives him that extra damage. And then he has Warmogs. So when he trades against Solo, who doesn't have his Warmogs yet, that damage will stick, and then he'll be able to back off and continue to split push. But look at this here. Potentially diving in. Lyra's pretty far away.
Baron burns so quickly. True shot barrage over the wall. As now Hakuo may find himself caught out. Glacial Fissure has to be used to disengage this one. Baron goes the way of Echo Fox.
That was really interesting too, because Clutch Gaming, they were backing off from Fox diving in, which looked like it was a 4v5 because Huni's splitting bottom side.
Huni, now with those Baron buffed minions, will be able to take down this tier 2, build that turret lead up to 7-1. Clutch just struggling to find any impact on the enemy structures at all, while Echo Fox keeps dismantling these things. They've got a barely standing inhibitor turret to take down on the top side, full HP on the bottom side, granted, and that mid lane inhibitor is still down. Once that respawns, it'll be easy pickings. Echo Fox just has to make sure, again, that they don't commit the same kind of mistake they did last time. They got a little bit over-eager, they went too hard, but now they know what their limits are, they know how fed their champions are. I'm looking to see them close this out. If Echo Fox is going to be a top contender, we heard from Huni after his interview yesterday, he said, I hope to make playoffs at a minimum. I really just want to win in ALCS. If you want to win in ALCS, you have to be able to close a game from a position like this.
Yeah, and I know that he's serious about that because this is a guy that spent time in Europe, won the EU LCS, came here, it slipped through his fingers twice.
Yeah.
Where they were the #1 team during the regular season and were looking at playoffs with a very dominant or set a record at the time.
They were combined 33-3 in the 2016 splits combined, but they weren't able to win.
Yeah, so which is ridiculous.
Got to redeem yourself.
Then he went to Korea and Spring Split was really good for him. Ended up winning the Spring Split with SKT. So he hasn't won NA. It's the only place they.
This is what you get. Yeah,
he hasn't won it.
Got to win NA. That's the final trophy. Europe, Korea, all those other places. That's second banana. You got to win NA. Grand Finals at Worlds don't matter. Hadn't won an A.
Oh, that's what we tell ourselves.
That's what we do tell ourselves, Irene, all the time. But pushing onto the top lane, tier 3 turret, they won't quite be able to take this bottom down. But Huni, bottom side, Solo's not going to be able to stop this. One more auto attack does it.
Yeah. Huni has himself a red buff as well, knows what to do with it, and he's going to keep pressuring it. They have all of this pressure that just slow bleeds these turrets away from Clutch Gaming. And they're just going to slowly chunk away at them. And really, if you're Clutch Gaming, how do you actually start these fights? You either send somebody in with Febiven's ultimate, Rom tries to make a hero play, or you even have the Sejuani try to do something. Because if you're pulling Solo up there, he can't answer Huni on the bottom side. The team will try to disengage, use Taric ultimate.
I think this is your
trigger pull right here.
Zac ulti being used and then canceled. Cosmic Radiance channeled. There
Huni
comes
on the
your
back.
attack. Huni coming in from the side, looking to maybe take
"Hey,
down
Febi!"
that enemy mid laner. Can he find the damage? The CC is there, but they don't quite have the burst. Stopwatch finally going to be used. They grab the kill onto Solo and continue to press the assault. Can they find more? Hakuo goes down for the double kill over to Altec, as this should be the game-ending push. 5 alive for Echo Fox. Moving on to the Nexus turrets themselves. Apollo's still there, Febiven's still there, Lyra's still there, but they don't have the tools, they don't have the gold, they don't have the items. The 80 carry falls. Phoenix grabbing the kill for himself. 4-0-3 on this mid laner. And now Echo Fox will open up their 2018 NALCS season with a 2-0 start.
The momentum has begun for the Echo Fox roster. This team, 29-minute win yesterday, 33-minute win on the dot here today.
Awesome showing from these guys. Huni with the split pushing, with the domination in the top lane. From the very beginning, from literally the first minion wave, we're watching Phoenix do the same thing in the mid lane. Dardoch taking advantage of those leads in a way that he needed to further get his teammates ahead. And bottom lane, Steadfast, knowing that they're not the focus this time, made sure that they were still going to be relevant into the mid game. You had a lot of gold onto Altec. all of this individual talent and then coming together as a team as well, saying go for Baron 20 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, securing that for themselves. Echo Fox is playing like an Echo Fox that we have not seen before.
And it's just insane because Huni had so much pressure in the top lane, was up almost double the CS at around the 60 CS mark. But then that mid lane that we were watching, Phoenix, it looked like Febivin did not get to play League of Legends at all.
No. Febivin was not having an enjoyable game. He was constantly under his turret, always being harassed, never able to farm. And the one time it looked like anything might happen, Dardoch just swoops in. He's like, oh, hey, here's a kill from my mid laner. Sorry.
Yeah, and even then, like Dardoch, he camped that top lane. He went to the mid lane as well. He kind of played, and like I said, it was reminiscent of the Immortal style when Huni was on that team, and so were Adrian, where you can play to that top half of that map. That top kind of create a triangle between the jungler and then the top laner and the mid laner, and then your bottom lane, Altek and Adrian, they'll just play neutral, right? They will play disengage if they get engaged on or camped. And then you can play towards Huni and Phoenix, who are both showing that they have a lot of power. And this roster, there were question marks about things like attitude and if they'll gel and stuff like that. But like I said, these guys, some of them have worked with each other, right? At least one person, at least everybody's worked with another person on the team. So they have that buddy. And right now, it's just showing the mechanics are coming through. And the team play is something that they have found ways to work with that triangle and with having everybody do their job. So it's working right now.
Yeah, the job definitely got done in that game, but we're now going to send it over to Ovly and the Echo Fox jungler.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Dardoch. Congratulations on the victory in that game. And I wanted to say you had some amazing plays with Phoenix. And earlier on, you said that you originally wanted to play with Echo Fox just to play with Phoenix. Can you tell me a little bit about that relationship?
Well, me and Phoenix have been really close since we played. We were together for a full year on TL. And after we just kind of, because we did so well on TL together, in my rookie split, I just always have been most comfortable playing with Phoenix, and our relationship's always been really good. So, yeah, coming back together with him is really comfortable.
What makes the relationship so comfortable?
Phoenix has like a really good, because I came in as a rookie on TL, he has a really good understanding of how I want to play the game because I had to learn from the ground up alongside him. So yeah, he just gets me as a player. He knows exactly what I'm going to do. We rarely have to communicate any of these things. It's just like, I'm going to gank mid and then we just play it out. Yeah, we just have a lot of synergy.
So Echo Fox is the 4th team that you've played with in the NALCS. What makes this team different from the rest?
I mean, we're hella good.
There you go. Anything else to add to that?
I mean, I've never played with a world champ before, so that's probably the, or world finalist before, so that is probably the biggest difference. My bad. Too soon.
What?
Too soon.
Well, besides that, how are you meshing with everyone in the team? How is the team atmosphere?
Yeah, everyone gets along fine. I mean, everybody says we have strong personalities, but we really just kind of think we're a little better at the game than everybody else. So as long as we just show that we are, I think there's no problems.
It sounds like everyone at Echo Fox is just fitting in just fine. For you, how is Echo Fox going to help you become a better player and better person?
Actually, I have a lot of conversations with our president, Jared Jeffries, and he kind of guides me with a ton of NBA wisdom and working with a lot of people who he claims have worse ego problems than me. So he he's helping me a lot, actually. My relationship with him is helping me grow a lot.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the people calling ego problems? Would you like to address it in any way?
I mean, yeah, I think I'm pretty good. Our whole team thinks we're pretty good, but I think we can back it up.
Perfect. Well, to back it up, you play Cloud9 and TSM next week. How are you going to prepare for that?
We're just going to head into practice just like we did this week.
Perfect. Well, I wish you the best of luck in those next week's games. Thank you so much for this interview, and we're going to throw it back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Ovly. A lot of focus there from Dardoch in that interview. Seems to have overlooked the fact that he played with Piglet a couple years ago. So there is a world champion on that roster of players that he's played with.
But a world second-place finisher never has he played with.
Never has he played with.
I don't think.
All right, but hey, that brings us beautifully into what I want to talk about here for Echo Fox, which is that finishing on a 2-0 week, let's remind ourselves that the majority of the time when the name or the team org Echo Fox is uttered, most people jump to the disaster cases, where it is that this team will fall flat or implode, and at what point will things go bad. Now I want to talk about the success cases. Yep. I mean, how good can this team be if to Dardoc's words, they just go back in and start practicing and keep pushing forward.
I mean, I would say you can kind of compare them to Dignitas from last season, which finished 4th, where they had Alltech and Adrian again, and then you have a better mid-jungle duo, I would say, in Phoenix and Dardoch instead of Shrimp and Keen, and then you have Huni as your Korean import top laner, who has way more success overseas than we've ever seen out of Someday, so you can say, why wouldn't these guys finish top 4 when things are going well?
And also, when we were watching that game, Huni died a couple times in a soul lane. They had a weird fight mid lane, and then we looked up, and they were up 8,000 gold, and that actually reminded me of Immortals from 2016 when Huni was first on that team. Tons of pressure top lane, had Adrian as support, those were the similarities, and then Dardoch, in this situation, would have been playing the role of Rainover, where he's just snowballing his winning lanes for pressure.
Yeah, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You do that 10 times.
10,000 gold.
Yeah, 10 steps ahead.
Right, yeah, no, and it is. It's funny to kind of see leads built in that way because when you watch it anecdotally, the game feels closer. But then to your point, Jack, you take a look at the scoreboard, and all of a sudden, that gold lead has ballooned. But let's focus in on these 2 mid laners, and in particular, Phoenix in the mid lane. Getting the Azir this time around, I want to remind people, this is the Azir god of old NALCS. He's back.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people are like, oh man, if you don't put Phoenix on Azir, he's average. But when he gets Azir, right, this was the quadra kill moment he had against COG back when he was on Team Liquid. And here, all-time in the NALCS, he's 13-5, make that 14-5. So he played really strong against Febiven.
And even that point about, you know, oh, he needs Azir to do well. I mean, there was a season or split where he led the world in CS per minute. Like, this guy is a machine in the lane and farming if you let him do that. And here, he looked completely at home, completely comfortable on Azir, like you said.
Yeah,
his signature champion.
I mean, I think it is interesting, too, to kind of hear, or rather, reference what the casters were talking about. A lot of it right now seems to be the mechanical prowess of these individuals. We just kind of ran through it. Hey, this looks like a top 4 roster from an individualistic standpoint. Now it's about eliminating those mistakes. Hey, Huni, maybe we shouldn't try and die 2 or 3 times after we've built that lead. Maybe we should make sure that we're pushing to end on a mid lane push and not giving 2 kills and an opening back for the game.
I mean, that over-aggressive style actually doesn't even usually come back and bite you in the butt during a best-of-1 regular season. It's when you get to the playoffs and people start playing more conservative that you get more concerned. So if this is their play style for the regular season, you can expect them to do well. I mean, like Jad was saying, this reminds you of Immortals where they were just super aggressive all the time.
Yeah, and we have to obviously take this with a huge grain of salt as you do every result in the first week. They just defeated Clutch Gaming. They defeated FlyQuest. They played TSM and C9. When you just look at the brands and the names there, you expect next week to be harder. But it's a new age, dude. Like those endemics right there, TSM, COG, 0-2, really crazy first week.
Yeah, everything's been shaken up. And then just to hit the losing team here in this matchup, Clutch Gaming, real quickly, we were talking at the beginning of the day, you know, to some degree an overreaction, best jungle mid duo in Lyra and Febiven. How do we feel this team performed today as compared to yesterday?
I mean, for Lyra, I still think he looked pretty good. He was able to help, hopefully, stabilize the top side, but the problem was his mid was getting smashed as well for the most part. So Febiven definitely underperformed for what we were hyping him up to be after 1 game, but for the most part, Lyra still looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, I'm similar in that vein. They did not have much pressure, and Dardoch was ganking from Febiven's jungle when he made that play. So I think both Lyra and Febiven did not live up to that name.
Time to look at some individuals. Here are this week's OP5, each role's top performer over the week of play. They are Huni, Dardoch, Jensen, Doublelift, and Afroboom.
Yeah, you got a bunch of players right here from 2-0 teams. We have 4 2-0 teams on the first week. We just got to see Huni and Dardoch, who we zeroed in on a little bit. The top jungle synergy they had was incredibly strong. Huni was making his own advantages, but Dardoch was the one turret diving, getting turret aggro, and really allowing Huni to get even further ahead.
I'll be curious to see how much he can help grow this team with the experience that he garnered overseas in the LCK as well as on the world stage. Can he help grow some of these younger, moldable players?
I think that's one of the things that probably gets overlooked with Huni is just he's such a personality. He's such a crazy playstyle that, like, when you talk about him, those are the things you naturally want to talk about. But behind the scenes, you've never heard really anything that bad about him other than, like, sometimes he plays Huni's champions. And, like, to be fair, that's actually really important that he actually is not crazy. He's not out of control. He's not causing drama in the team house. He is, for all intents and purposes, a great team player.
Brings us to his teammate, Dardoch, Jad. This guy has been one of the most volatile players in the entirety of the NALCS, but so far, things are looking good.
Yeah, 2 Zac games. His Zac is super good with winning lanes. We got to see him on other stuff, but that's what OP5 is. It's based on the 2 games he played, and
Right.
his 2 Zach games were really, really strong.
All right, let's move to the mid lane. We find C9 Jensen. Zillion picked to counter on day 1. Solid performance here in day 2 as well.
Yeah, had a tough matchup into the Zoe. High looked really good on that. Was able to get through that for the most part untouched. And then, like you said, that Zillion game was monumental in terms of like keeping C9 in that game when everything was going wrong in the top side of the map.
Zillion game's so good into Malzahar, Malzahar, that Hui's like, I can do that. Doesn't do it when he plays the Zillion as well. So definitely some player skill involved in that Zillion versus Malzahar matchup that Jensen had. That was huge. And then, as you said, the Rise game pretty good, but it's the Zillion game that really stood out.
Move to the bottom half of the map. In the AD carry position, we find Doublelift on Team Liquid. He got revenge over TSM this week.
Looked like he was playing a little angry almost, you could say. Very aggressive player all the time, but especially this weekend, was able to take out huge leads for himself in the bot lane, both games, once on Kalista, once against Kalista.
Yeah, it looks like Doublelift is stepping up as a leader here for Team Liquid. He is actually so experienced in the competitive scene. He was trying to play professionally before a professional scene existed, quite honestly. Very experienced now, and off to a great start with his new team. Didn't die, which I'm just seeing with that graphic.
And 96% kill participation.
Hey, what do you think Team Liquid likes to play through?
Amazing. 80 carries almost, I mean, on average, like 70% is your kill participation.
Right. Hardly sustainable. And you have to imagine that teams are going to start looking at the bot
less
lane as
than this will be
something to
considered a
attack.
disappointment.
He's doing worse than week 1.
Oh, no. We're getting to a dangerous place there. Finally, in the support position, it's Alframu, 100 Thieves support.
And someone that I think a lot of people were kind of speaking down on over the course of the overseason, that he was getting replaced by Biofrost, and CLG fans were like, great, we got a mechanical upgrade, and you start to lose focus of exactly what makes Afro so great. We saw a little bit of that in that recap of that Baron play where he was able to communicate calmly to his team exactly what was going to happen and exactly how to react.
Yeah, and also, his mechanics look really good.
Yeah, he's not
Because
that's what I was going to say. You talk about that criticism he faced. People last year were talking about, is this the year that Alframu, you know, kind of moves out of League of Legends? That's where the way the conversations seem to be trending, and he's come back and shut that down.
Even though he has said the move away from CLG was one of the hardest things he's ever done in his life, sometimes that change of scenery can really remotivate you to find your second calling, so to speak. And for Alframu's sake, hopefully that's the case. He definitely feels like he's remotivated.
Those are the top 5 players in each of their positions this week. As we wrap up the weekend, let's see how the teams stack up. Up top, we've got 100 Thieves, Cloud9, Echo Fox, and Team Liquid at 2-0, while Clutch Gaming and FlyQuest share 5th, and the rest of the teams in the league have to look for a win in week 2. I mean, Jat, you've kind of hit it. We expected the endemic names, those big org titles, to all be resting at the top of the standings, and that's not how week 1 shook out.
No, really not. I mean, huge disappointment for TSM. I'm very disappointing in COG as well, even though I think their schedule was also pretty tough. But that's how it happens, right? We're back to best of 1. Call your mind back to 2 years ago.
Right.
This kind of stuff did happen fairly often, but still a very exciting first week.
All right, well, throughout the weekend, fans tweeted some jaw-dropping moments, and we've decided to pull a couple for our LCS Big Plays, brought to you by Acer Predator. First up, Amazing Tacos called out Ole's slick Taric stun in his opening game versus TSM.
As the chase continues, they're all going to turn invulnerable thanks to Ole's ulti. The chase is on Mithy at 200 HP, maybe a little bit more. The flash to double stun! Huge plays out of the bot lane, 4 kills to Liquid!
You can just literally just jump on him, okay?
Yeah. Think so?
Well, yeah. I'm here.
I'm looking.
Yep.
Oh,
nice.
we can. You can catch?
Yeah,
let's go. Nice.
It's load.
Hey, I'm gonna TP in, let's go. Let's go. I'm very close. I'm diving. Yeah, I can flash ulti alley.
No. I got him. I'm gonna go through.
No. Lighty push me. I got it. Nice.
Overall, an amazing play, and especially when you start hearing the voice comms of how much information was being talked about all over the place. Smithy is actually the one who tells Doublelift to go aggressive. Ole starts following up. Pobelter's like, I can teleport in, and then I can flash forward, and then Ole's like, no, I got this. You save your flash. And they're all communicating perfectly.
Really good communication for week 1 with 5 new players. The boot camp they did in Korea before the new year paying off right there.
All right, next up, Tungsten Pony pointed out another play from the Team Liquid support. This time, the lengths he'll go to save a teammate.
Really going to be bad if he goes down. He's been having a free game up top. Dark passage to the light as Impact flashes to safety. The shield comes in now from the Locket, and they are going to be getting him all the way home.
Look at the escape here with Ole coming in, trying to flash to avoid Zig's knockup, and Impact barely escapes.
Yeah, Thresh.
Why don't my supports do that for me in solo queue?
You're not
Blow
good.
everything.
You're not Impact. It's probably the answer.
Not worth it.
Fair enough. I mean, my LCS big play is those two Twitter names. We got Amazing Tacos and Tungsten Pony. I don't think we're going to beat that the rest of the rest of the split. We might as well call it quits here. Make sure you keep tweeting your LCS big plays to the hashtag NALCS all season long, and we'll make sure we get someone who's not Ole next time around. Now, though, it's time for NALCS Tonight, where Freak, Kobe, and Isaiah will break down the first week of the split, but that's going to do it for the three of us. So we'll see you back here next Saturday, 1:30. Good night.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to NALCS Tonight. I am Freak. Here's Kobe. Here's Isaiah. Let's talk about what happened in NALCS both today and yesterday. Any big thoughts first off about how the opening of the season went?
I mean, it's been pretty exciting. I think one of the most interesting things for me is just how much parity there seems to be in the league. You know, a lot of the teams that were predicted to be at the top are at the bottom. Teams are, who are still at the bottom are kind of challenging ones at the top. So it seems to be pretty competitive.
And with best of ones, there is, especially at the beginning, going to be a lot of that, shuffling around. And it's going to take a while before we really see the sifting of the ones that are going to be playoff teams later on.
Yeah, plenty of turmoil. So interesting to note, of course, going to be the teams who did at the very, very best, big of which was going to be Team Liquid. Doublelift had words to say about his goals with Team Liquid this split.
One of my goals for this year is obviously to win NA, at least once. But the side quest, on the way, I just want to beat TSM. And hopefully I want to destroy the legacy of making finals every year, because that's annoying. And yeah, I already messaged Vincent and told him, hey, you better beat their bot lane too, because we better make them look bad if they replace this.
So, of course, let's talk about the fact Liquid off to a 2-0 start. Double successful so far in the side quest.
And
500 gold,
quest.
half a level gained up. Well, I mean, main quest is like what? Win NA at some point.
Yeah, so 2-0. There you go. Good start to the main quest,
than that. Everything's going great.
Step one of the quest complete, I guess. B-roll here, of course, looking at Liquid in their first game against TSM. Honestly, was not very close. Liquid had looked good pretty much throughout the weekend.
It's pretty interesting that the game against TSM was the smash and the one against Optic was actually a bit of a nail-biter there. I actually felt that Liquid should have lost to Optic given the comps and given the situation in the late game, double Infernal on Optic's side, but TL did execute at a higher level.
Yeah, they had a lot of, sort of creative plays to get them out of some very difficult situations, right? They even talked about how they were getting outscaled already and some mistakes early on cost them, but they were able to get back in through some vision plays. And when we had our couple of listen-ins that we did with the communications, it was as crisp as it looked on screen. So those two things seem to be coming together.
Yeah, I do think it's unreasonable to expect a zero-mistake season out of a team. So the fact that they come back from a bad place against Optic means that, hey, we clearly have the shot-calling pedigree, the calm-headedness. Move on to the rest of the 2-0 teams, so I do want to keep us moving here. 100 Thieves off to a 2-0 start as well. They didn't have the hardest schedule, but still 2-0 start's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'd be very happy with this. This is a team that does have a massive amount of experience, so it's maybe a team you could expect to have a better start out the gate. You have Afromu, you have Meteos as well in the jungle, and these are guys who have been around just in NA for such a long time, and they kind of have the confidence to lead some of these other players.
Yeah, we saw a lot of the positives being really highlighted here for 100 Thieves early on in this week. You mentioned the in-game leadership there from Afromu. We also saw some of the performance from Someday where he was outplaying 2v1 scenarios. He is an absolute monster. So the individual players coming together, probably hasn't had the longest time with these guys. I think in one of their videos he talked about maybe 2 weeks or something they had to practice, but it does look like the game plan is definitely coming together for them.
Yeah,
super solid.
Definitely so. I mean, I just think that the org, it seems like all the players are really happy to be there. It seems like their situation, their facilities are really good. So it's one of those things where it can start snowballing when you have a good coach, when you have good facilities, when you're happy with the team, like everything can really just start working very well for you.
Yeah, we'll see if they keep it at 100 so far throughout the season. Next up, though, Cloud9, another 2-0 start for them. They had their first match was very tough. They're against Counterlogic Gaming. Most people actually power rank CLG above them, so that's in some cases an upset win, but they played well kind of throughout the weekend.
Yeah, I thought this whole weekend was actually very good for Cloud9 because I had fairly conservative expectations for them starting out, considering how everyone thought they downgraded in the roster in the offseason. They had to offload Impact. He got this really good deal with Team Liquid, so they replaced him with Licorice. And nobody's going to have, a bunch of early confidence in this guy coming out and blasting people, but Licorice performed very well as far as an individual for me, especially for, this new guy coming into a very veteran team and a very big organization. In addition, Svenskeren, people had question marks around that, but he also seemed to be fitting in pretty well. And Jensen with the Zillion pick was able to save him a bunch of times, and it just seemed like this was a very positive early week for Cloud9, and surprised a lot of people that did have more conservative expectations.
Yeah, I mean, Svenskeren seems extremely happy. Licorice has been impressive. I think, to me, the big test for C9 is going to be next week, because I do think still, while Licorice had a fantastic first week, he's going to have such hard opponents next week going up against Someday and Huni. Like, that tells you a lot, right? If he can hold up against those top laners, I think C9 can challenge for a championship. But if things fall apart, then the question marks start to kind of come back.
Especially when you look at what Licorice's been playing. Gangplank and Kled in his first 2 games. You heard in his interview, he said, yeah, my team had the faith in me to play what I thought was comfortable. He's like, I thought I might have been a Maokai one-trick coming into the split, but they're letting me play what I want. And yeah, if you play a Gangplank against Huni, you better be able to beat Illusion, because he bashed Flame in that matchup. So, I mean, it's things to watch out for, though.
It's kind of the C9 special, though. When you think about Worlds, they've always been a team that's been known to allow their players some flexibility. Contracts playing his stuff, Singe from Impact in the top lane, even in the NALCS finals, Smoothie bringing out a Gragas pocket pick for support. So this is something that they've always been pretty comfortable doing, and I'm glad to see they have that confidence in Licorice.
So finally, the 4th team to go 2-0, Echo Fox. Huni himself was on that one. He looked pretty much like Huni. Huge laning leads.
Exactly
couple of
like Huni.
Hyper-aggressive plays that got him killed in the mid game. But yeah, 2-0 start's pretty great for them.
Yeah, you already mentioned the Lucian top, but even though Lucian top and Huni, this is a North American LCS meme because of how it ended for Immortals, it is a very good counter pick into Gangplank, and he was able to put it on display, and everyone's like, oh my god, he's killing the barrel so fast with a double tap, and he's jumping on the back line, and it was just so cool to see that specific pick come together for him as something. And then he talked about, oh yeah, we'd been preparing this as a specific counter pick. That being said, though, I just always like the teams that are doing that extra step, and Cloud9 is including this with their Zillion preparation, countering the things that are so common that you can assume your opponents will pick those power picks, right? So the Zillion specifically into Malazahar for Cloud9, and then the Lucian there specifically, Huni preparing. I just think that those types of next level preparation are going to take you a long way in best of ones.
Yeah, exactly. Best of ones so big, and also with so many shifts in the meta, if you can have a leg up, if you've practiced this pick that they have not, like, you can get a big boost in the standings in the early season, which can decide the playoffs later on.
You're only playing 4 games in any individual patch. So, I mean, you need 4 champ selects for 8.1, 4 champ selects for 8.2, and that's your season, right? And you just keep doing that, and you innovate, and that interests me and excites me a lot as a spectator and as a player and everything else. So, hope to see more of that. Let's move on from teams who are hot on to teams who maybe didn't do quite so well. This is the topic of underperformers. Of course, we have 4 teams who went 0-2. Any of you want to start out with teams that stood out to you in that kind of bucket?
I mean, I think you have to look at TSM a little bit, right? People obviously had some very high expectations, myself included, for this roster. The sky's not falling yet. You have to give them some time, see if things are going to recover, but also wanted to give a lot of credit to their opponents, right? Liquid came out firing, completely dominated them the first game, and FlyQuest was the really surprising one to me, because they just played at such a higher level, and this was not a game that was, just given to them for free. It was not an early snowball. They had to play a long macro game against TSM, and even from some pretty big blunders in late game, they were able to recover, and I thought that showed a lot of strength to their team.
Yeah, definitely for me. I mean, TSM overall, I think the biggest thing that stood out were the communication issues for me. But specifically, this game was the real shocker, right? Their first opponent was Team Liquid, and Team Liquid were expected to have a very strong start to the season. But FlyQuest here, Keen was in for Fly as far as the mid lane, and he performed, extremely well for himself. Plus, in addition, they've got these rookies, the Immortals rookies, basically, right? The guys that did well.
And Stunt.
Anda and Stunt. And I really thought that the Zac play from Anda on the front line, being able to use Zac Ultimate to get the Tom Kenshin, even after he saves people, like, there are a lot of things that they did well, even though there were mistakes. And I think it bodes well for this team that the other players, in addition to Flame and Wild Turtle, who are looking at for the big carries of this team, are able to perform, especially when they do have Keen subbing in from the academy roster.
Yeah, I mean, the ceiling goes way up if those guys are going to be consistent, right? And even in the loss, I thought they played pretty well. You know, Onda in particular, I thought he did track the opponent junglers very well in their first game in the loss, and in the Zach game was fantastic. So, you know, a lot of the rookies have been having some very strong showings.
I think it's interesting. We kind of jumped on TSM and move over to the happier story of a pretty good start so far for FlyQuest. I actually want to start then with another happy story. I was pleasantly surprised by Optic. Yes, they went 0-2. Yes, I would expect them to be 8th, 9th, or 10th coming into the split, but they had a close set of 0-2 games, right? They actually fought their opponents pretty closely, which for a 0-2 I thought was actually pretty happy in a way, even though I'm sure they're not happy about being 0-2 as a team.
I mean, they were pretty vocal on Twitter that, you know, despite the fact that they lost, they were happy with their team. They were proud of the way that they played because, you know, there are those expectations. And I got to talk to Zabatine today, and he talked a lot about the mentality of their team, the mentality of their players, and how they recruited for that. Guys who are hard workers, guys who are not blaming others, and who are open and willing to give criticism. So I thought that made a lot of sense. And you can see that a lot of these things were working for them in the games. I mean, they were one team fight away from beating Team Liquid, and they failed to kind of execute on that. But really, you know, you give that team fight to them 10 times, they probably win it like at least 7 or 8.
Yeah. They definitely had some difficult opponents, you know, coming right out of the gate, and they also always keep citing, we are the ones that are going to work harder. They have very high expectations for the ground that they're going to gain over the split because of the amount of work that all of them are willing to put in. So I think that's going to be a super interesting team to keep track of and watch. Yeah. Because as you said already, even in their losses, you know, they made it close and they looked like they were doing a lot of positive things.
Yeah, it does look like their players are on form. I'm super keen on AO right now, who looks to be back to that spring split MVP shape from the previous year, so I think he'll do pretty well. And then one other thing I want to bring up, though, as far as 0-2 teams, Counterlogic Gaming, I think a shock of a 0-2. Jat had them power ranked number 1 on the dive. You both had them at number 3. Maybe that's, again, over the course of the split. Well, yeah, I mean, but, you know, okay, maybe that was a prediction of over the course of the split, maybe not week 1, but still 0-2 for a top 3 power rank. That is a shock.
It is a shock, certainly. I mean, for all of us, right? We all thought that they were going to come out of the gate pretty strong. It felt like both mentality-wise and skill-wise, the 2 new guys that they got should fit in with their roster. But one of the things that really did stand out to me, I mean, they did have some really positive early games. I think their pre-planning is still there. I think that the early pathing from Rainover was really good. But I was pretty disappointed in how Stixxay played this week. I think that both games, late game mistakes cost them heavily. In the Caitlyn game today, you know, kind of stepping forward, getting Malzahar ulted is this fateful team fight. You know, yesterday against C9, getting hit by 2 Sejuani ults, team fight after team fight by Svenskeren really decided that game for me. So I think that he needs to play at a very high level, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on both Biofrost and Stixxay now that they're kind of separated from their, you know, more veteran, more famous partners. So they really do need to rise to the occasion right now if CLG is going to be a good team.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And they've also talked a lot about this kind of communication network that they're building with the team. And they put out a video with Huhi where he was talking about, you know, being a big voice as well. So this is going to be another one of those teams that's interesting to track, you know, how they progress through this season. Yeah. Because we do feel like they have oh God, I can't say the potential word.
Kobe.
Potential. I can't say the potential.
You have faith in their potential, Kobe.
But, they definitely
thoughts,
room to grow. Let's say.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, honestly, I think some key individual mistakes, and again, those are going to shine in best of ones as far as being, you know, very detrimental. And the AD carry position is definitely one that's shown up this week.
All right, well, one final thing to talk about then. Next week, matches coming up again, 10 more games of NALCS, and I know there's some really important ones coming in, especially now that we've seen a couple games out of these squads. What coming up here is a Saturday schedule, of course, on your screen. And which one of these seem like the most exciting to you?
For me, immediately, Cloud9 versus Echo Fox. I'm very excited. Both these teams are at 2-0, and because a lot of my questions for C9 coming into the season were about Licorice, well, if you can do really well against who I consider to be the best top laner in the league, guess what? You're pretty damn good, and C9 is probably going to go far. So
I got a question for you.
Exciting.
Before I give my answer here, Azael, are you ready to invest at least a little bit test currency here on Echo Fox and see if they continue to rise? Because this is one of the teams where we're like, oh my God, they have so many good players that have bad reputations as far as team play goes, you know, and interpersonal, you know, relationships go. Now they've come out very strong. Yep. Where's my question? Are you going to buy in on this
I'm buying
Echo Fox cryptocurrency?
So here's my thought process. If I want to see how they do the week after they have a bad week. And if this team can have an 0-2 week, and then
So you're saying they will have a bad week?
Yes, eventually, I believe that they will have a bad week, right? And I think that
Echo Fox, quote me.
If this team, okay, yeah, I'll quote you on that. If this team has like an 0-2 week and then can bounce back and look strong and not look mentally shaken, that's when I'm going to be all in on this team. That's when I really am going to start to have some
Then
faith.
it's too late to buy the currency, bro. It's already, then everyone's going to be buying
I'm a
it.
conservative investor, Kobe.
You are not a venture capitalist. All right, Kobe, how
well,
about you?
you're not going to be making your mansion money then. I'll be over here. I'll invest right now.
You want to fund 15 cents a piece for Echo Fox.
I'll go in right now, and then when they hit it big, then I'll be driving around in a yacht. You can come on the yacht.
All right, I can join you on the yacht. That sounds great. Trick 2G in the house. We're gonna live on a boat for a while. It's gonna be amazing. A match I'm actually excited about, weirdly enough, is 2-0-2 teams, TSM versus Optic. Because TSM come in super hyped. Unfortunate 0-2 for them. Optic come in super under sort of hyped, I guess. 0-2, but looked pretty good. Optic was better looking their 0-2, arguably, than TSM. This is actually a closer match I think people give it credit for.
And it's a pretty scary match for TSM.
Yeah, it is.
As far as, I mean, the fans are so supportive when they're doing well, but I think TSM fans can be pretty brutal on the team when they're doing poorly. And if you lose to Optic, who's another 0-2 team after an already rough start, oof, I think that's going to be a tough week for TSM.
Yeah, and I think that the kind of team atmosphere in Optic, they feel like they are pretty resilient still. And since they didn't have super high expectations, their team atmosphere will be concentrated around improvement and work, and they keep on talking about, how much hard work they want to put in. Whereas TSM, because the brand is so big, I know that they have had issues at times where, like, when they have defeats like that, it is a lot of pressure on players. And since Mike Young is, very new to that organization, when he was on Phoenix One, there wasn't much pressure, right? And so if he did well, then he got, a bunch of praise. But now he's on TSM, so wondering, how are they going to deal with,
even Svenskeren talking about the juxtaposition, right? Yeah. About how much more relaxed it was on C9, how stressful it was, even in practice, he was saying, for TSM. So this is something that those players have to deal with, and it comes with being on, the most popular org in the league. There's give and take with everything, right? You have such high expectations.
All right, it was going to be a fun one there. Stay tuned. NALCS comes back in 6 days. It's going to be amazing. That's going to do it for us for NALCS tonight. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
The new Team Liquid bot lane, who had quite the opening day performance versus TSM. We'll see if they can repeat that performance against Optic Gaming.
Bit of a risky position.
Oh, the mid laners here, they have the shockwave
available. Onto a Katie, and can he get the Cataclysm in? He cannot. They go
the Sonya
immediately onto the stopwatch. Really going to be bad if he goes down. He's been having a free game up top. Dark passage to the light as Impact flashes to safety. The shield comes in now from the Locket, and they are going to be getting him all the way home. Doublelift has the entire enemy team in his eyes, and TL is just dogpiling on top of Optic. Team Liquid start off week number 1 of the 2018 season 2-0.
Hey, come on.
Yes. Hey,
Kog'Maw! Did you guys get him? I'm coming.
Nice.
Nice.
On the left side, playing safe.
Oh,
against Ben! They kick him back, but they also get Mithy. They're gonna have to leave the base if they even want to stay alive, and that's not gonna get him the game. Mithy's gonna go down. FlyQuest looking to take the win.
Ulti from the Zillion. Someday wanting to
waiting
wait, burns down the Darshan after it already
time
out, and the man's got the slam.
We go get it, guys?
Yeah, go. Turn them on. Kill them all.
We win.
Kill them all, guys!
Go.
Kill them all, guys!
100 Thieves can make their game-winning push.
Someday
in the front line. Flash, Mega Gnar. Stixay's out of there. Cody's son on a killing spree. They take the Nexus, they take the loot, and they take down CLG.
All right, how about Colette?
Holy shit, let's go.
The Drowsy comes out, the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, not quite able to find the market, still high, grabbing the first blood, but he dies for it. Contract's gonna be killed number 2. But now you've got Lorlo in the mix. Licorice looking to remount onto that Scarl, and he gets his mount back. The man makes his escape. As now they look to maybe make it 2. Contract wanted to chase this one down. The Drowsy is there. Very nice. Oh, he doesn't matter. Licorice sounds the horn. He charges in. What can they find? They're able to get Matt. They're able to get Contract. They're able to get Deathly. Cloud9 defeat the Golden Guardians to get a little bit more damage. Dardoch going in. Comes in over the wall with the elastic slingshot. Phoenix tries to get the ultimate back, doesn't quite find it, still able to grab the kill, and now Echo Fox will open up their 2018 NALCS season with a 2-0 start.